Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here on this Friday afternoon in May. We're here today to support our seniors in the senior speech class as they share with you their words of wisdom. Please know that these students have been working very hard over the last month to create something that they are very proud of in order to share their words with you. Thank you very much. Here we go.
The fear of missing out, more commonly known as FOMO. Many of us teens and young adults struggle with this phenomenon, whether we realize it or not. The rise of technology isn't helping the fact, as it seems to be a leading cause of individuals feeling left out and abandoned. Stated by the influential Michael Alsher, the bad news is time flies. The good news is that you're the pilot. The fear of missing out has caused many to put themselves into situations knowing that there's other, more important things to accomplish. Our population needs to know that they have the ability to fly their own plane and make their own choices for the benefit of themselves. Hi, my name is Kate Morris, and today I'm here to tell you that there's no reason to worry about missed opportunities and events. Everything will fall into place just the way it is meant to. Throughout my time in high school, there have been many instances where I valued my social status over my schoolwork and my family. I found that senior year has been especially hard to take time for myself, knowing that this is the last year seeing all my friends and all my family every single day. I worry that I'm not spending enough time with the people I love, worrying they're gonna forget about me when I go away to college, worrying they're gonna make monumental memories without me, attempting to soak up every minute of time I have left. An instance that I've noticed myself missing out on things back home was during February break. My family and I took a trip to Puerto Rico. I was away from my friends for around 4 days, and for every single one of those 4 days, I spent worrying about what I was missing back home. All this time spent worrying took away from valuable minutes of time I had left with my parents and my brother. If I took a minute to look past the time I spent worrying, I'd realize all the memories that I did make during this trip, like kayaking with my dad, or getting trampled by the waves with my mom and my brother. This specific instance has allowed me to realize that the fear of missing out has become a huge aspect of my life, especially in my last couple months of high school. Although this feeling is inevitable, I've allowed myself to let go and not worry about what I'm missing and take that time to better myself. Catching these bad habits early can be extremely beneficial to a person, especially in their academic lives. There have been countless instances where I've skipped out on doing my homework or studying for a quiz because I wanted to hang out with my friends. One occurrence where I decided that going out to dinner with my friends was more important than studying for an AP Psych test resulted in me getting a bad grade. This meant I needed to work even harder the next test in order to get the grade I desired. This has led me to value my free time and take a minute to slow down. We as teenagers pack our schedules to the brim with schoolwork, sports, clubs, and time to hang out with friends. There's never a time to relax. At the beginning of my high school career, when I had 30 minutes of the day without something to do, I'd freak out and feel extremely unproductive. But now, senior year, with so many things to do and so many assignments to get done, I've started to value my time and adjust my mindset to reduce the feelings of missing out and feeling unproductive. Over the years, I've discovered that reading has helped me to let go and allot that much needed time for myself. I know as high school students, reading might not sound like what you want to be doing in your free time, but each person should find their thing, whether it's watching an episode of your favorite show, baking cookies, or even going for a run. Most of the time, it's crucial to step back and take a deep breath, instead of adding that task to your to-do list. From a very young age, we're told it's important to seize every opportunity put forth in order to set yourself up for future success. And I'm not denying that statement. However, before we all embark on our own separate journeys, we need to come together, spend time with loved ones, and cherish the time we spend together. This also indicates needing to take time for yourself in order to set yourself up for success. If you don't set aside time now to accomplish your goals, you're selling yourself short. There's no reason that you should be worrying about a missed beach trip or a movie night that you were busy for It's essential to take time for yourself, focusing on getting things done and being productive. Doing your own thing allows you to appreciate the things you have in life and set yourself up for success. So go out to dinner with your family, spend time with your friends at a sports game, but before that, make sure to set aside time for yourself. Get your math homework done, submit that college application, use your free time for yourself, and don't worry about that thing that you missed. The fear of missing out is unavoidable and it happens to everyone, including myself, which is why I find taking time for myself has been an extremely important aspect of my life. And I hope that when you get home, instead of picking up a phone call from your essay, this way it's aligned through your to-do list and one less thing to worry about. Thank you.
Ever since I was younger, I was always fascinated by sports. Staying outside from sunrise to sunset during the summers, playing pickup basketball, or just watching football with my dad. Activities like these were my escape from reality. I played basketball here for Berlin High School. Well, I was on the team, but I didn't play much. A lot of people ask me, why don't you just quit? You don't get any playing time. And I understood why people would quit, but for me, I never considered it an option. I believe you should try a sport or club to find your liberation. Sports allowed me to focus all of my attention to the task at hand. That task could be to learn a different move, understand a new play, or master a technique. I often found that after I finished practice or a game, my mind was clearer than before. Sports allowed me to calm down and clear my mind. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Saunders. To get away from reality, I turned to sports. My dad was the one that got me into basketball, but didn't take it seriously until my sophomore year. I would go to my friend's house during the summers, swimming, throwing a football, and even playing baseball and tennis. But most importantly, I played basketball. Henry Thoreau said, "Many men go fishing all of their lives without knowing it is not the fish that they're after." Basketball was my refuge. During elementary school, my older brother Kyle suffered from a heroin overdose. He was found passed out in his car by a random group of people. He was in a coma around 4 to 6 months, and he also flatlined during that. But luckily, he was able to beat death. During the following years, there was a lot of stress on our family. He was in a nursing home, which is one of the worst places anyone could be in. From nasty food to the wrong medication causing him to have seizures and accompanied with people who just don't care about your family. It is the last situation anyone should be in. My older brother is doing a lot better now, as he has his own apartment, but because of the overdose, he needs 24/7 care, and he will also have to be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life due to the brain damage he has suffered. As a kid, I didn't fully understand what was happening, but you can always tell when something is wrong. We spent nights there and weekends making sure everything was okay. Basketball was there for me. It allowed me to relax, and it gave me that feeling that everything was going to be okay. We all need an activity that allows us to escape reality. Sometimes that's playing video games with your friends, or watching your favorite TV show for the 10th time in a row, or maybe it's just hearing the bouncing of the ball. As I grew older, coaches have not only helped me in basketball, but also in life. Listening to what they say and understanding the meaning behind each story they tell. I've had multiple coaches here at Berlin, as there has been a different basketball coach each year I played. Coaches to me were like another parent. It felt good to get a compliment from any coach. One time after practice, Coach Goliat came up to me and said, "I know you're not happy with the situation you're in." He was referring to my play time. I told him if I was happy with not playing, then that's not a good thing. In the situation I was in, I learned how to be a part of something that's greater than myself. I understood that my job was to push my teammates in practice, and I would do so any way I could. As we grow older, it is important to reach out and make connections with people. Building a connection with someone is the best thing you can do. You guys today can join a club, and if you want, take on that leadership role. You can also build a connection with teachers by staying after and asking for help. And when you get older and you need someone for a recommendation, I'm sure the teacher you built a connection with would be happy to help. This year, I learned how truly important it is to speak my mind and build these connections. What helped me grow close with my teachers was just telling them what I think. How I got comfortable doing this was surprisingly easy for me. I just remember they're human too. They feel the same emotions as you do. If you communicate properly, they will be understanding. I don't think it's a good idea to go up to your coach during a game and say how they're doing everything wrong. After a tough loss, don't go up to your coach and say how we could have run. This will most likely result in laps you have to run with bricks in your hands. Instead, go up to them before or after practice and have some film ready just to show them that you did your homework. In one of our upcoming games against Maloney, our coach asked us to watch film and write down a few plays they ran. I texted him once I had an idea of how we could win, telling him how Maloney likes pin down actions and they look for the quick dump offs every time they get into the paint. Another example is staying after practice. This shows to the coaches that you're committed to growing not only as a player, but also as a person. Before practice started, I would ask, are you able to stay after and get some extra work in? And on Sundays, I would stay after until the freshman team came in, or I would come in early to get extra shots up. It was hard for me to feel involved at times as I had a limited role, but asking to stay after and communicating with others helped me erase that feeling. Coaches have also helped me learn the value of hard work and how important it is to just stick with it, even if you might want to give up. It's hard to do something when you constantly tell yourself that you should give up. I believe that the worst feeling you can have is regret. No matter how hard that workout is or how hard that assignment is, don't give up. Your input equals your output. The more energy you put into something, the better experience you will gain. School is a very easy example of this. When you have a test coming up and you put in energy to study, you will result in getting a better grade. Just like how getting more hours at your job will earn you more money. I know not everyone plays sports in here. I also know that it doesn't just take a coach to teach the value of hard work. It could be a peer in a club you're in or a teacher in a tough AP class. Understanding the value of hard work has helped me not just in sports, but also in life. Everyone should try a sport. Sports have taught me many things that has helped me in my life so far. Having something that can cheer you up and relax is vital to your mental health. I know sports don't appeal to everyone. I know that you don't have to be in a sport to learn the value of hard work. Just ask my brother Ian. Even though he is my twin, we are complete opposites in almost every way. Sports didn't teach him the value of hard work. Clubs did. I hope that you can find a place where you can be a part of something that is greater than yourself. My final message to you would be to find that club or sport that you can enjoy. Find something that you can look forward to every single day. Thank you.
Our lives are just various pathways intertwined into one big journey, filled with endless doors that could be opened and lead us into brand new chapters of our life. You never know which time you take the chance of opening a new door, a new success occurs. As some of us are ending our high school careers and some of us are just starting, learning to open every door possible is imperative because it builds the foundation to our success. High school is only a short part of our lives, and it's over before you know it. Although it is such a short time period, building the habit of taking opportunities can construct the foundation for the rest of our lives. Getting involved in school was the way I started taking opportunities, with no intent of anything else besides just wanting to fill my schedule. It's as easy as showing up to a club meeting after school, or for me, running for class president my sophomore year. If I hadn't taken the opportunity to run for a class officer position, I would not be even close to where I am today. Hi, I'm Sarah Gazzardi, and I'm here to tell you to take every opportunity life throws at you because it lays down the foundation for your life. Going into high school, I always envisioned myself involved, and from that goal I'd set, I made sure to take club and leadership opportunities. It started out by showing up to any club meeting that sounded fun, or I just wanted to try out. Did I ever think I'd be class president my sophomore year, let alone the years following as well? Definitely not, but it was more so something that sounded fun and I thought would be a cool opportunity. Winning the election was definitely shocking and soon followed me all throughout high school. The first election was for fun, but for junior and senior year, it was something I was more passionate about, and getting the position meant a lot more. The elections ended up becoming more intensified, and I learned to still take the opportunity and go for it. I'm very grateful I still went for this position, even when it was scary, because the leadership role has built so many connections and opened so many doors throughout the years. It has also helped me to teach the importance of trying new things, taking opportunities, and finding new interests. If you're listening and you're on the fence about trying a new sport, club, or activity, just try it. And if you don't succeed, just try again. The worst thing that could happen is just wondering what could have happened if you didn't try it. If I hadn't just taken the opportunity sophomore year and tried something that just sounded fun, I would not even be close to where I am right now. In the first years of high school, taking opportunities and getting involved was all about fun, and the beginning steps of building my foundation of success. Senior year then came in the blink of an eye, and taking opportunities turned less into fun and more into perseverance. While senior year has been my favorite year of high school, the fall and winter was also the most stressful and important. These few months decided if I'd have the opportunity to continue dancing in college. I took the opportunity to go through the recruiting process with multiple schools, and time after time again, I was cut from the process. Each time, I would lose a little more hope and get down on myself. The path I'd planned out for the next 4 years of my life felt completely ruined, and I wanted to give up. Months passed by, and the last opportunity I had was soon, Penn State's dance team. In order to be a part of this team, you have to show up for a 3-day audition over the weekend. Although it was my top school and team, I lost all confidence and at times felt too scared to even go. This was the moment where taking an opportunity is not just as easy as doing it. Sometimes it takes perseverance and ambition to get you through. Going through with this opportunity came from knowing that the times that count the most are the times you really don't feel confident and want to give up. Sometimes taking an opportunity takes a leap of faith and knowing to just trust that the outcome is what's meant to be. The audition process started in the anxiety-filled weekend with lots of nerves completely worked out. Getting the phone call that I made the team was the biggest dream come true. And the key lesson I learned from this is that opportunities are not always easy to take, and again, you need ambition and perseverance to get you through. Marilyn Monroe once said, "Just because you fall once does not mean you'll fall at everything. Keep trying, hold on, and always trust yourself. Because if you don't, then who will?" If we are so caught up in the times we fail, it can get more and more intimidating to try again. But those are the times you have to keep trying and persevere through the fear of failing. Because time and time again, I got rejected from teams. But if you fail 9 out of 10 times and don't try again, what if that 1/10 of a chance works out for you? Taking this leap of faith and chasing every opportunity life has for you lays down the foundation for your life. Making the team has paved the upcoming pathway for the new chapter ahead of me, and I know that I will continue to try out any other opportunity that college holds. So if you're in the audience and you're debating on joining a club, go to the next meeting. If you are unsure about running for an officer position, just go for it. And if things do not go like you planned, just push through and try again. Not succeeding once does not mean you won't succeed again. Do not be afraid of opportunities and do not take them for granted. Learning to build this habit will only bring you good for now and your future. Thank you.
As seniors in high school, we certainly do have a lot to look back on. We look back on our previous school years, all of the memories we have made, and how far we have come in our schooling. But at the same time, we also have a lot to look forward to as well. We look forward to new opportunities, new and exciting adventures, and just wondering what the rest of our lives will be like. As a senior in high school, our feelings are usually mixed for good reasons, but that's completely fine. Hi, my name is Ryan Krupa, and today I want to talk to you about how you only have one life and you need to make the best out of it. Now, everybody knows that life will never be a completely easy ride to go through. I know that I'm certainly one to tell you that. Throughout my whole life, I have dealt with a great deal of adversity in a wide range of ways. When I was really young, I was diagnosed with this rare neurological disorder called apraxia of speech. It is a speech sound disorder where the child knows to say what they want to say, but they have difficulty speaking because they struggle with messaging to the brain correctly. My parents even thought that I would never be able to talk and were even considering having me learn sign language. I had to take a lot of speech therapy when I was in elementary school. However, I have made some strong progress ever since then. So much progress, in fact, that I decided to take a class on public speaking skills my senior year, where the final assignment is to give a speech to an audience of my own peers and teachers. Now will you look at what I'm doing right now? People do tend to forget that adversity has its advantages and benefits. Adversity can help us become stronger and resilient, help us gain new perspective and skills, and make us appreciate what we have even more than what we did before. In fact, Walt Disney himself once said, "All the adversity I've had in my life, all my troubles and obstacles have strengthened me. You may not realize it when it happens, but a kick in the teeth may be the best thing in the world for you. Sometimes in life, your misfortunes can help you way more than you may realize. So try your best to learn from your mistakes and decide how you can improve from them. Also remember that a great person is not measured by not making mistakes, but by how they react and respond when they do make a mistake." And looking back on all the struggles I've had in my life, whenever it was my speech disorder, my challenges with having ADHD and being on the autism spectrum, and all the everyday challenges I faced while at school, only now do I realize that that is the biggest motivation in my life. All of the struggles I have and will face in my life are what lead me to keep going and make me who I am today. If you know me personally, you know that I'm a very optimistic person. I always try to look on the positive side of situations. And despite all the adversity I have faced in my life, my perspective has always supported me in the long run. But what about you? Do you stop and think about how far you have grown in your life? The bumps you have in your life are what shape you the most. Remember to not only show appreciation for not only your blessings, but also your challenges as well, because your challenges are what lead you to become a stronger person. I have also had challenges throughout all of my years in high school, especially since I entered high school during the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, I was one of those who was very cautious during COVID, so throughout my freshman year, I didn't even think about trying to get involved with doing extracurricular activities. Only then at the beginning of my sophomore year did I slowly start trying to put myself out there more. My first step was joining a club. I looked at the list of clubs we have here and eventually decided to join the Student Art League, which is advised by Ms. Galasso. It did take me a while to get out of my comfort zone by doing it, but just by taking part in it helped me become more comfortable with putting myself out there. Then in my junior year was when I joined Upbeat. Now, I want to make it clear that I am miles from being the most involved member of Upbeat, but even just joining and eventually volunteering every now and again does create strong character development. It doesn't matter how small it is, just doing something can create more opportunities and open even more doors for your future. Opportunities are around every corner, but here's the thing most people forget about opportunities. They are never handed to you on a silver platter. It is up to you to find them and to accept them as well. Looking back on my previous high school years, I do regret not trying to get involved in my high school community sooner than later. But you know what? That's completely fine, because eventually I did try to get involved later on. Always remember to tell yourself that what you did do matters way more than what you didn't do. But while that is true, it is still important to remember to try your hardest to try new things, because while high school is only just 4 years of your life, it is still part of your life nonetheless, so just try to make the best out of it. The final point I want you to take away from this speech is that always remember that this is the only life you have. Life is precious, and it is something we take too much for granted. There will always be challenges along the road, but that's completely fine. It will help you become a stronger person in the long run. So appreciate how much you have accomplished. Try new activities that you are interested in, and never lose sight of the little spark of joy for life. Thank you for listening.
When I was younger, I would never want to face a challenge head on. I was always not brave enough to make big moves. I always had the mindset to do it later. We all have been there. I mean, ignoring a challenge or procrastination is a common feeling for us being busy high schoolers. We think we have all the time in the world, right? Often, we tell ourselves we just can't do it. I've caught myself so many times saying this to myself, but it always turned out okay. There are so many times we prove ourselves wrong. Hello, my name is Olivia Meisner, and I'm here to tell you, if a challenge feels impossible, still work through it. I'm here to encourage you, even if it feels impossible, take that challenge and grow. 2 years ago, I was 8 hours away from home at a summer camp where I would face a huge challenge. The camp brought us to this beautiful national park right in the state of Maine, a waterfall nearby with miles of gorgeous river with cliffs surrounding it. As I'm sure you all have experienced, sometimes when we hang out with friends, you're so focused on having fun, your mind gets taken off bad things, and this is exactly what happened here. I was so into the conversation I was having, and then realized I was at the top of an 80-foot cliff I fully just climbed. What the heck was I supposed to do? My friend told me it's harder to climb all the way back down than it is to do a simple jump off the cliff. I understood, but looked down and got goosebumps looking how far down the water actually was. I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to jump, but my fear was holding me back. I got hyped up, and after multiple minutes of just staring off the cliff, I took the leap. Yes, even in the air it was scary. I scrunched up, eventually that ended into falling in the similar shape of a cannonball dive that left me some bruises, but I still couldn't be happier seeing that I just faced my fear. I surfaced back up, and felt a sense of accomplishment. Nothing bad happened, and it was actually pretty liberating. I even wanted to jump off again. Many of you here may be too scared to face a fear. A quote I find helpful from Eleanor Roosevelt said, "Do one thing every day that scares you." I agree with this quote 100% because it makes life interesting and lets you do exciting things. This still may be scary, so what I found beneficial in this situation was the support I had with friends. Go to only the people who are supportive in any problem that comes, because they will help you like how I did. After I faced my fear of heights, I couldn't be happier. I never thought I could actually do it. I grew as a person because I won't let heights hold me back anymore and faced a challenge even with the doubts I had. A challenge I was never ready for was the mountain full of grief I had ahead of me. This summer, my grandpa passed away, and before I could even process that, 4 days later, my big sister passed away. She was my best friend, and we were only 1 year apart. That's why I believe we had such an unbreakable bond. She was my gossip partner, pool partner, playing catch partner, and most importantly, one of my biggest supporters. We never really fought, and she was my best friend. In the matter of a week, 2 important people in my life left. Life didn't feel like normal. Minutes felt like hours, and when I couldn't cry anymore, I felt nothing, and my mind started racing. I spent a majority of my time just laying in my room thinking, what could I have done to prevent this? Or question myself, why did this have to happen? I never knew if I was going to get out of bed, and definitely did not think my thoughts would go away. I was broken and a mess. Luckily, good came out of this, and much of my personality changed. I knew my sister would not like the idea of me crying and doing nothing all day, so I used that to encourage myself to go out with friends, doing simple things like going to the park with Maddie or talking to Ricardo while going to get ice cream. Time can sometimes be your best friend, and time healed some of my scars. I was wanting to do exciting and fun things, knowing any day it can end, and being young is not an excuse. You don't have to force yourself to push the whole mountain of struggles away. Take your time, but use all of your strength. After the first push, it's going to take a lot of your energy out. But after that, it gets easier and easier. Take all the help you can get. Talk about it with people you trust. The worst thing I did was bottled up my emotions. I did not want to talk about it because I didn't think anybody could understand what I was going through. But keeping it inside was making it worse. I struggled to open up, but finally talked with friends I knew I had trust for. After this, I couldn't believe it, but I felt somewhat relieved and I felt a little better. Even if you're going through a unique struggle, it's okay to still talk about it. It's going to be hard at first, I know this, so go to only people you trust. Even if it's not a normal teenage problem, it doesn't mean it doesn't affect you. We all have unique struggles, and some are more open than others, and some just hide it well. Although I'm telling you, don't hide it from everyone. Take the next step in your challenge and talk to a trusted person. Feel a sense of weight come off your shoulders. Yes, it might be scary, but we all have to push through scary things because in life, to do big and exciting things, we have to use the time we have to the best of our abilities. Like if you asked freshman year me if I'd ever be on stage talking to this many people, there's a pretty good chance I would have thought you were crazy. Or even me going away to Dorman College, I would have been super hesitant. Although I'm right here on stage graduating in a few days, I'll be attending Quinnipiac University this fall to major in diagnostic medical sonography. It's a big step and scary, but I'm ready to face this challenge head on and hope you all do the same. Thank you.
I remember my freshman year. I had a big decision to make for the winter season. I could do both swim and robotics at the same time, or I could pick one and abandon the other. Now, at this time, I'd been a member of our school's first robotics team since about 7th grade. And I'd been a competitive swimmer for longer than I'd been in school, and was greatly looking forward to swimming at BHS. Obviously, I didn't want to abandon something I loved, but at the same time, I was afraid of the busy schedule it would leave me with. Eventually, I made the decision to ignore my fears and do both swim and robotics. Looking back now, do I regret this decision? Absolutely not. Because of this decision to not fear a busy schedule, I have now claimed a school record for swimming and a passion for computer science, of which I'll be majoring at UConn. Roll skis. But I think the greatest reward that I've gotten from these activities is learning to not fear a busy schedule. And that's what I'm here to talk about. Hi, my name is Glenn Fern, and I'm here to convince all of you to not be afraid of a busy schedule, so you don't miss out on getting your record, your passion, your reward. Whenever I hear someone talking about their busy schedule, it's always about how they hate how much work they have to do, or that there's so much work that needs to be done. And I always get a bit confused when I hear this, because to me, that's the best part of a busy schedule. The true beauty of a busy schedule is that you have things to do, so now you're getting stuff done. Let me say that one more time. The true beauty of a busy schedule is that you have things to do, so now you're getting stuff done. Allow me to explain. This past spring, I decided to take it easy for my last quarter and not do track. This way, I would have more time after school, which means I have more time to do my homework and hobbies. Needless to say, that's not what happened. I found myself procrastinating my work to the point where I flat out didn't do it a lot of the time, and I lost my drive for my hobbies. What's interesting is that when I had a busy schedule, such as over the winter when I had both swimming and robotics, I would always get my homework done and would always pursue my hobbies when given the time. And the reason why is because I flat out didn't have time to procrastinate it any further. And that's what I mean when I say that when you have a lot of things to do, you get stuff done. And it's all because you don't have time to procrastinate any of it. I'm sure that there are many of you out there in the crowd who are procrastinators, just like me. And to all of you who struggle with procrastination, join a club, pick up a sport, or anything that takes up a good amount of your time, and watch as your procrastination disappears. The true virtue of a busy schedule is what most think is its downfall. So I recommend you all change your thinking and reap its rewards. To quote Tom Peters, if a window of opportunity appears, don't pull down the shade. Somewhat recently, a window had opened for me, and that window came in the shape of my good friend, Jacob Miller, who I see in the crowd right now, actually. Put your hand up, Jacob. Now, Jacob had asked me if I could play bass for his Mr. BHS performance. There's only one slight problem with all this. I didn't know how to play bass. And he only gave me a week to learn it. In that moment, I could have pulled down the shade. It would have been easy to tell my friend no, that it would be too difficult, and that I didn't have enough time. I could have pulled down the shade and let my opportunity slip away. Thank the heavens I didn't do that. That night, I restrung my old acoustic guitar that had been sitting in my basement for years, and I put in the work practicing about 2 hours a day. When the time came for our Mr. BHS performance, we sounded amazing, and that moment felt incredibly gratifying and rewarding. Definitely a top 5 moment in my high school career. And just to think, all of that wouldn't have happened had I said no. My feeling of reward and satisfaction wouldn't have happened if I had closed the shade. That sense of accomplishment is something that we all strive to feel as human beings. But in order to feel it, you first need to take the opportunities shown to you. Have you ever had a friend or someone you know ask you to join them in a club, sport, or project? I'm quite sure that many of you have. What did you say back? Yes or no? Now, it doesn't matter anymore what you said then. The past is in the past, and you can't change it. What matters now is what all of you are going to say the next time it happens. Are you going to accept the window of opportunity, or are you going to pull down the shade? A busy schedule is nothing more than a day full of opportunities that can bring you rewards and accomplishments. I want every one of you to be more open to accepting future opportunities that are presented to you. Finding your passion, breaking your reward, whatever the reward may be, will be worth every little bit you put in. My name's Glenn Fern, and I'm ready for the opportunities my future has in store for me. Are you? Thank you.
In 4 years of high school, life changed a lot. I've become closer with many new friends and distant from others. In 4 years, I learned how important confidence is. In order to succeed in life and perform well, you need to be confident in yourself, because it enables people to take chances, rise to challenges, and truly pursue their objectives. Confidence is important. It acts as a refresh for individual development and accomplishment. Helping people get over their challenges, confidence opens a door to fulfillment and achievement, allowing people to reach their full potential and leave a lasting impact on the world. Hi, my name is Matthew Melnick, also known as Gonzo, and I am here to tell you how changing your confidence level will make you a better person. In 9th grade, I did not have much confidence in the classroom. I never understood what was going on and definitely did not do my homework very often. But then in the 11th grade, things changed. I realized there's not much time left in my high school career, and I'm going to need to start taking things seriously. So I did. I raised my hand more in class, I participated more in group activities, and became much more confident while in the classroom. If you're an underclassman who thinks grades are unimportant, or if you just lack confidence in the classroom, I encourage you to raise your hand the next time a question is asked and do your next homework assignment, because your confidence in the classroom will significantly increase like mine did. Confidence does not only come from the classroom. Another way that I developed confidence in high school was joining sports teams. Throughout high school, I primarily played 2 sports, swimming and lacrosse, but picked up football along the way my senior year. Whenever I needed something, I was confident that I would always have someone to go to because of sports. I developed close relationships with all my teammates. Joining sports taught me to work in a team and to be confident in myself, because without self-confidence, the team would not perform well. Joining sports taught me to set goals as a team, like the one that me and all my teammates set junior year, to go out and win the conference swimming championship. We were all confident that we could win the conference championship, so we did, because we were all confident in each other. But we could not have done it if we did not have confidence in ourselves or confidence from other teammates encouraging us in our next race. Because I was able to develop confidence while in high school, I was able to do things that I never thought I would have seen myself doing, like taking the speech class. My freshman year, I remember sitting in the auditorium, watching the class of 2021 give their senior speeches, thinking to myself, why would anyone ever want to volunteer to take a class and give a speech up on stage? Here I am now taking the class because I was able to develop self-confidence. If I did not become confident in myself, I never would have been able to do all the great high school experiences that I've experienced, like performing in Mr. BHS. Before Mr. BHS, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to go up on stage and sing and dance in front of hundreds of people, knowing that I barely even sing along to songs while in the car with friends and family? The answer was confidence. All I needed was insurance from myself that I would do well, and I did. Turns out performing in Mr. BHS was one of my favorite high school experiences, so I'm proud that I was able to develop confidence to go out and do it. Challenging myself also helped me build confidence. If I did not challenge myself in high school, I would never have developed the confidence to go out and try new things. Until my senior year of high school, I had never played football in my life, but was given a call from one of my favorite people and was told that I should come to Xavier Camp and try to play football. I knew that going into a new sport late in my career was going to be a challenge, but I did whatever I had to do to make it work. If I wasn't confident that I could play football, I never would have made all of the close friends that I have now. If you want a way to develop new friendships and memories, go outside of your comfort zone and challenge yourself. I never once thought I would have all the friends that I have now, but I started to challenge myself more by playing football and develop more self-confidence by making friends with new teammates. A quote that I found from Barry Davenport: low self-confidence isn't a life sentence. Self-confidence can be learned, practiced, and mastered, just like any other skill. Once you master it, everything in your life will change for the better. This quote pretty much defines all my years in high school. My freshman year, I was shy and reserved, but now I'm confident and proud of the person I've become. If I can go back and do it all over again, the one thing I would do is be more confident, because more confidence changes a person for the better. Thank you.
How many of you have ever experienced a situation where in the moment you felt as if it was the worst thing in the world? Maybe you failed a math quiz, didn't make states in a certain sport, or you and your best friend got into an argument. Think about it now though. Does that situation still matter, or even cross your mind? There have been countless instances where I have felt my world was going to end over one tiny mishap, when in reality, in about 2 weeks, nobody, including myself, mentioned or thought about it again. Hi. My name is Paige Kemish, and I'm here to tell you why you should not let fears hold you back, because in the grand scheme of things, very few matters are as significant as they first appear. A little over a year ago, I decided to apply for captain of the lacrosse team. Although I was only a junior, I decided to take that jump because it not only showed my interest, but I also believed I held the qualities it took to lead the team. Although I kept my expectations low, it still hurt not to hear my name get called along with the other captains listed. At first, during practices, I would not try as hard or even care because I thought that if I wasn't captain, what was the point? Quickly, I realized that mindset was not the correct one to hold, as I was only a junior and lacrosse was still the sport I loved most, so there was no need to give up on it. Fast forward a year, and this past March, I received the news I was one of the captains for the 2024 season. By not letting the fear of rejection stop me from applying again my senior year, my decision ended up paying off, and I'm overjoyed I made the choice to do so, or else I would have never known I could. I'm certain that many of you have stopped yourself from pursuing a specific path due to the fear of failing, and I once thought that way as well. But I promise, through the wise words of Theodore Roosevelt, it is hard to fail, but it is worse never to have tried to succeed. Have any of you ever beat yourself up because you were so close to pursuing something, but held back and let fear swallow you whole? And more importantly, you wonder why you were so scared in the first place? According to the article by Mind Tools, it states, it's important to realize that we always have a choice. We can choose to be afraid, or we can choose not to be. Start by setting small goals that will help build your confidence, and practice thinking positively. It can even be as simple as trying out for a sports team, answering questions in class, or asking someone to prom. The more you act on those ideas without overthinking, the more you will learn that it's acceptable if the outcome doesn't fall in your favor, while also adapting valuable traits in the process. And most importantly, at the end of the day, who cares? The feeling of embarrassment or sadness doesn't last forever. At least you can say you tried, and there will always be instances where you can try again. Although I'm preaching the idea that not all matters are as significant as they first seem, I too am guilty of doing so, especially in academics. Throughout all of high school, I've placed a burden on myself to succeed in school by getting good grades and partaking in numerous extracurriculars. I did so over-intensely that I even based my self-worth off of my performance. I was constantly doing schoolwork during my free periods and stayed up late after practices. This year, I truly began to see the light and came to the realization that there was no need to put that much pressure on myself. I still took AP and UConn classes, but also attempted to branch out and take classes I knew I would enjoy, considering it was my last year. For instance, taking speech class was something I was uncertain about at first, but now I'm so happy I did, as it allowed me to branch out of my comfort zone and practice skills I know I will utilize in the real world. Now, I'm not saying to not try in school at all, but once in a while, it is okay to hang out with your friends, go out to eat, and watch a movie. Even if it seems frightening or unproductive at first, I encourage you to utilize those opportunities and take that jump, because at the end of the day, those memories are going to be the ones you treasure most, not the one time you aced a singular math test. Personally, I will always remember those late-night drives with my friends, blasting music while stopping to grab food. As stated by Mark Twain, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. Overall, high school is only a small chapter of your life, so do not let overthinking or the fear of failure stop you from doing what you love. Despite the fact it's saddening to leave my high school years behind, it can be motivational simultaneously, since these are only 4 years out of your whole journey, providing you with so much more time to explore and branch out. Therefore, with the more small jumps you take, the easier it will be to take those bigger leaps without even thinking about it. By applying for captain, it will provide you with the courage to apply for a job opening. By inviting someone new to sit with you at lunch, it will assist you in meeting new people in the future. By doing the things that might seem insignificant, it will help you to grow and push you to make those more difficult decisions later on in life. As you're all sitting here before me today, I desire that you all imagine yourself in 5 years. In fact, whenever you are going through a difficult time in life, do exactly that, as it will force you to realize there is so much more to life than just high school, and truthfully, nothing is that big of a deal. So take those leaps of faith, even without knowing what's on the other side, as the outcome is far more beneficial than holding the regret of wishing you did. Thank you.
If I was asked to describe my social life throughout high school, I would say that I was a floater. According to Urban Dictionary, a floater friend is someone who knows a lot of people but isn't really close with any of them. Although I've always had a handful of close friends, I was never one to be a part of a giant friend group or have a large social circle. When I entered high school, the idea of not being in a friend group scared me. I thought that I would miss out on a memorable high school experience. For most of my freshman and sophomore year, I isolated myself and limited interaction with my classmates because I thought that I wasn't popular enough to talk to certain people. I thought that the other girls in my grade would think I was lower than them on the high school social class because of my lack of a friend group. I just simply could not find my clique, my niche, my special group of people that made me feel like I fit in. The crazy thing is, most of these people that I was afraid to talk to are now some of my closest friends. I'm Riley Hoops, and I want to tell you why it's not all about the popularity. What matters is your connections, your trust, loyalty, and companionship with your friends. Having just a handful of close friendships will always outweigh having tons of superficial friendships. As an upperclassman, I can confidently say that having people in your life that are authentic and genuine are so important and make life so much brighter, even if it's just one person to stick by your side no matter what, whether that's defending you after you're involved in drama or waiting for you in the parking lot so you don't have to walk into the bleachers at that football game alone. Value this friendship and don't limit yourself just because you think you need to be popular or in a massive friend group. Opening yourself up to people and letting yourself be vulnerable to new people is something that took me so far when making good friends. During my sophomore year AP Government class, I mainly had one friend. This normally wouldn't be an issue, except it was lunch period, which meant I only had one reliable person that I could sit with at lunch. However, the fear and anxiety I had going to that class and not seeing that friend was awful. For the whole period, I would contemplate what I would have to do when lunch finally came around. Would I have to just wander the halls and waste time, beg my mom to call me out and come pick me up? These were genuine thoughts of mine. Looking back on it, all I had to do was open up, form the connections that were right in front of me. Now, as I think back to that class, I realize that I have become friends with almost everyone there. I know that senior year me would not struggle to find some place to sit at lunch. Even so, none of these people that I have friendships with are in my friend group or are part of one particular social circle. I've formed individual connections with people and allowed myself to branch out of what I thought was my social status. I looked past people's popularity and made friends based on who they were as a person. I chose not to care about befriending the girl with the most friends and decided to connect with people who were trustworthy, reliable, and who treated me with respect. While it may seem that without a friend group, memorable high school experiences would be limited, I would disagree. When trying to find somewhere to sit at lunch at my junior prom, it was a struggle. The tables needed 10 people, and while I had a few close friends, none of them were friends with each other. They were each their own individual relationships. This forced me to latch on to another group of people in order to have somewhere to sit. I was nervous to invade someone else's group and be the odd one out. Nonetheless, I had an amazing experience at prom. I talked to new people and learned that no one was judging me or disliked me. Just because I wasn't in a friend group didn't mean that I couldn't enjoy my time and enjoy spending time with new people. I wasn't limited to what I could do or how much fun I could have just because I didn't have a ton of friends. So, start up a conversation with the person who sits next to you in class every day, even if it's something as little as complaining about the homework. And if you're really feeling confident, extend an invite to a Panera study session. Those never fail to get conversation going. Finding common ground with people is much easier than it seems. For the longest time, I envied girls in big friend groups who always got invited places and never had to struggle while looking for a place to sit at lunch. Now, when I think about my small collection of friends, I'm grateful. I know so much about each person as an individual, their goals, dreams, why they are the way they are. I never have to worry about being involved in petty drama or finding out that someone was talking about me behind my back, because I know the friends that I do have respect me and who I am as a person. They understand me and sometimes know me more than I know myself. Each opportunity I get to spend time with a friend is always filled with endless laughter and spontaneous adventures that I will never forget. Don't limit yourself to experiencing the joys of your high school years because you think you don't fit in. Get out of your bubble and talk to that new person. Have that deep conversation and make the connections with people, even if it isn't someone you would normally talk to. At the end of the day, having more quality friendships built on a foundation of respect, trust, and loyalty will always supply you with better experiences than shallow friend groups filled with drama and superficial connections. As Al Capone said, "I would rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies." It might be difficult at first to feel like you're left out or different, but creating lifelong friendships will always be worth it. Thank you.
My mother always reminds me that the most important relationship is with yourself. She says it's so much that I might as well get it tattooed on my wrist so she'll stop reminding me. That sentence always stuck with me through my adolescence. Every time I come home crying, every outburst I create, everything that came my way, I never forgot that sentence. Loving yourself is a difficult task, as we're constantly looking back into the past. Wishing things ended differently, but you have to focus on the road out there, looking at what you can make of your life instead of wishing what you made it. Hello, I'm Mason Shear, and I'm here to talk about how to forgive yourself. Life is subjective. It could be brunch at a waterfall, a trip to the city, a party in the garage. But to me, life is a long walk on the road. I'd walk home from school. I'd walk for miles in the city. I'd hike through the woods and fall into the Connecticut River. All of this in a ragged pair of Doc Martens. What makes life this long walk is the fact it gives you many opportunities to screw up, but it gives you just as many opportunities to get it right. One time, I made a choice, one I don't recommend to a younger audience. I took a train in New York City alone. I tried to forget about my problems under the blazing sun. I came out of the tunnel red hot, with an itch in my head about all the problems I was leaving behind. I met a stranger in Washington Square Park and we got iced matcha lattes and walked around the city for hours. I'm not sure if it was the hot flashes or the lattes settling in, but he scratched my itch, made me realize, why do I let other people walk over me? I boarded the train home and we never saw each other again. But his impact and the things he said about my life shifted my perception of reality. To be the person you want to become, you have to let go of the person you were. This life is yours, so start treating yourself like it. Exiting the train, I realized I was putting my love into everybody else and not enough into myself. The doormat effect, I like to call it. I left a part of me behind and a new person returned. I felt like a changed man, and the whole experience taught me that people come into your life and leave, but it's comforting to know that you will always be in the center of your heart. With change in mind, sure, it can be terrifying, but it brings a sense of self once you face it head on. Change will tell you things you don't want to hear. It will sit you down on the couch, scream at you, then hug you like nothing happened. But the question echoes. Whenever I encounter someone or something unpleasant, is everybody capable of change? I reflect on a moment in time, a mournful time when my grandmother died. I see it as the morning my rose-colored glasses shattered. Everybody's lost something, whether it be their phone, wallet, or sense of self. In this scenario, I lost so much more than my grandmother. I lost happiness. This road turned into a spiral. My family was in hysterics because my grandmother held my family together. She was positive and always saw the light in the most darkest situations. I couldn't comprehend why she was taken so early, but before she passed, she told me that every time I saw Robin, that was her looking out for me. It made going through this cruel world a lot easier, knowing that she was somewhere out there, making sure I don't mess it up. It's funny. This world isn't fair. There's moments in life where you just want to be imperfect because it makes us feel better about the fact that nothing is perfect and nothing will be perfect. If you're at the bottom of the ocean and you need to swim up to survive, yes, it takes up a lot of energy, and there will be times where you'd rather drown in sorrow, but you'll come out feeling refreshed, having overcome your despair. It starts with admitting to yourself that you have a problem, you're sad and lost, and once you've admitted that, then it's time to look at the road ahead and start that walk home. We're all human. We're born flawed and will always be flawed. It makes us stronger. Imagine how miserable we would be if we were perfect. We'd set unrealistic expectations for us to keep up with that. It's good to get humbled once in a while, to remind yourself that you're human. Laugh at yourself, because the thing you did yesterday was stupid. We mess up, but if we acknowledge the idea mess up, we learn from it. So yes, everybody is capable of change. It's It's acknowledging your mistakes and doing soul searching that makes you capable of change. There's no better way I can put it, so I'm going to quote arguably the best woman in the world, Madonna. No matter who you are, no matter what you did, no matter where you come from, you can always change. Become a better version of yourself. So with that in mind, stop analyzing the past. Stop looking at the future, because holding out for something that's past and something that doesn't exist doesn't change the present. The road out there can be bumpy, it can be long and irritating, but importantly, it's meant to be challenging. You've been here long enough to wrap the idea through your head that we're all capable of achieving something great. The road is right there, so start walking. Thank you.
Life is a windy path, a dangerous one that is too difficult to follow alone. People try to conquer life with absolute confidence, believing that they have it all figured out. The harsh truth is that they don't. They have no idea what life holds for them and will face inevitable failure if they don't get help. There are people in this world who know more than you, who have the wisdom and resources to guide you. Many times, you won't even have to look for these people. They will come into your life when you have hit rock bottom. I am talking about the people that have opened their arms wide and embraced you, the people that see your potential and wish to see you succeed. These are the silent leaders that will push you to the limit and help you up when you fall. Hello, everyone. My name is Charles Pinchera, and embracing the role of mentorship and actively taking someone under your wing is not only an act of kindness, but a vital component of personal and professional development, fostering growth, resilience, and the cultivation of future leaders. Taking someone under your wing provides them with guidance, support, and opportunities for growth, unlocking their potential and nurturing their skills and talents in ways they may not achieve on their own. There are too many people in this world that either don't believe they are enough or are overly confident in their ability to succeed. Without proper guidance, they will continue to struggle through life with this unbalanced mindset. As a tennis player for most of my life, I have personally struggled with this mindset. I only cared about my performance on the court and never truly understood the importance of working with others on a team. That was until I decided to join the Ultimate Frisbee team my junior year. The team was made up of mostly seniors who have been playing the sport much longer than I have. I immediately began to negatively accept the fact that I would just try to get by, to do my best to compete with the older kids. That was until I met Kevin Daly, Malcolm Ferguson, Sean Colello, and Will Turgeon, 4 BHS alumni that saw what I was blind to see. Kevin gave me my voice. Malcolm gave me my strength. Will gave me my confidence. And Sean gave me a killer instinct that I never knew I had. All of the struggles of my mental game soon faded, and I just played, not just to the best of my ability, but to crush any opponent who dared to take the field. A brotherhood was formed, each of us feeding off of the energy of one another. We became a brick wall, impenetrable as long as we had each other's backs. These are the types of people that will show you what it means to not just be a leader, but a mentor. Everyone should strive every day to be a Kevin, to be a Malcolm, to be a Sean, and to be a Will. Look to those who don't see the path ahead as clear as you do, and don't be afraid to show them the way. It doesn't matter if it is a sibling, friend, teammate, or a coworker. You have the power to change their lives for the better by always approaching them with open arms and a hand to lend. Acting as a mentor allows individuals to share their knowledge, experiences, and insights with others, contributing to the collective advancement of society while leaving a lasting legacy of wisdom and guidance for future generations. Being a mentor to someone not only allows one to unlock their full potential, but also provides them with valuable lessons that they will be able to implement in their future. I have been fortunate enough to work over the summer as a camp counselor for the past 2 years, at Camp Eagle Feather in Rocky Hill. I was forever greatly impacted as a camper there for 7 years prior. And going into the summer of my junior year, I got the chance to leave the same long-lasting impact on the next generation. I was the only male hire that summer, and was honestly worried about being able to live up to the legacy of many counselors that impacted me. That was until I met Josh Waugh, a 4-year counselor at that point, who saw not just a pupil to show the ropes to, but someone that he could shape into a responsible young man. He treated me as a member of his own family, constantly checking in on me while keeping me on track with the task at hand. He almost took a business approach to the way in which he shared his wisdom, ultimately playing a major factor in my decision to pursue a future in finance. I learned about the importance of knowing when to have fun and knowing when to lock in and be professional. Josh held true to the words of Steve Jobs. My job is not to be easy on people. My job is to take these great people we have and to push them and make them even better. Collaboration, confidence, and creativity, all necessary to being successful in one's future career. I want everyone to think about the success that you all have had in your lives and the people that helped you along the way. Be grateful for them, thank them, but also take a page out of their book and become them, especially in your future career. Be the person that takes the new intern out to lunch, that shows them the ropes, and makes them feel like they are not just part of a company, but a family. Most importantly, grow with them, succeed together, and make each other the best people that you can be. Now, it is my turn. It is my time to offer my knowledge, skills, and wisdom to the next generation. As the captain of 2 sports teams, and hopefully a leader in the future, it is my time to look to those who have not fully unlocked their potential, or don't clearly see the path that lies ahead. I want to give people their voice, their confidence, their strength, and their killer instinct that is essential to their future success. I strive every day to leave the same impact that those left on me, and to grow with those who I choose to guide. Thank you.
On the first day of writing our speeches, we were asked the question, is there any event that occurred during your time in high school that if you had the power to change it, you would? This question really had me thinking. Were there any parts of high school that I regret? Any moments that set me back? And if I could do anything over, would I? Standing here today, I'm confident that the answer to all these questions is no. And there really is no part of my time here that I would change. I know I've had plenty of hard days, disappointing news, and missed opportunities, but looking back, I choose not to remember those moments, but rather that I was able to keep pushing forward and have always responded with a positive attitude that has shut down these low points. This optimistic outlook is what has allowed me to look back on high school and my life with no regrets, and this is all obtainable just by changing your mindset. Hi, my name is Alexa Fallon, and I'm here to tell you that although life is uncontrollable and filled with ups and downs, we can always control our mindset and reaction. Successful actor and model Zinette Aman, who was a former college dropout, preaches that life's so unpredictable. You never know when the next high or low will strike you. The trick is to just flow with the tide. This year of high school, I really had to flow with the tide and try my best to see the bright side as I went through my very difficult and painful process of picking a school to attend this upcoming fall. In November, I finally figured out what I wanted to major in, applied to all my colleges early, and felt confident that I had all the answers. Flash forward to April, just weeks before I actually had to make my decision, and I'd gotten multiple rejections and realized I didn't even like the school I was planning on attending. However, I didn't let this get the best of me and utilized a positive standpoint to get me through this extremely stressful time
and ultimately, my end result canceled out all the bad. Rejection is always difficult to hear, and obviously, I was disappointed at first, but I took a step back, realized I could do nothing to change the situation, and accepted that this was happening for a reason to benefit me in the long run. Similarly, I really wanted to like the school I was counting on, and initially was overwhelmed that I no longer had a top option, but I took a step back, realized I could do nothing to change the situation, and accepted this was happening for a reason. Now looking back, I don't think about the missed opportunities, other options, or struggle to make my decision, but only focus on my success of finally deciding on a college, all thanks to the obstacles along the way and my reaction to each obstacle. We cannot change the things that life throws at us, but we can change how we react to them, stopping each throw dead in its path and launching it back forward twice as fast. As award-winning author, coach, and expert in human potential, Debbie Ford says, "To live in the light of a new day and an unimaginable and unpredictable truth, you must become fully present to a deeper truth. Not a truth from your head, but a truth from your heart. Not a truth from your ego, but a truth from the highest source. You won't know the answers. Some things are just out of our control. But what you can control is how you react to everything and the positive attitude that you bring into the world. This mindset will get you through the most tiring of days, the most devastating of news, and the most difficult of decisions. No decision, reaction, or action will be regretted or considered wrong if you do it with a positive outlook. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in what's right or wrong that we forget to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. There is no right or wrong answer, but there is a right and wrong reaction. It didn't matter what school I chose, and it doesn't matter what score you got, what team you made, or what you could have or couldn't have done differently. What matters is the mindset that you're approaching the situation with. So juniors, as you're approaching this time of high school to apply to college and might not know exactly where you want to go, or even to those that think they do know exactly where, remember that anything can change, and it's okay not to know the answers. Everything will work out, even if you're stuck deciding last minute. To all the seniors, know that there is no right or wrong decision, and wherever you'll be attending this upcoming fall, you'll be fine as long as you take a positive mindset with you and make the most out of what you have. And everyone else, if you didn't make that spot on the team, didn't get the grade you wanted, or didn't receive the news you wish to hear, know that you can change the outcome simply by reacting positively, setting yourself up for future successes. I didn't get to choose to go to Berlin High School, but as a second semester senior, I wouldn't change my high school experience for anything, all because I've kept a positive outlook. So stay optimistic, and I promise that you will look back on your high school years and whole life feeling fulfilled with no regrets. We don't always get to control the situation. Life really is what you make it. So think to yourself, am I going to look back on my years of high school negatively or positively? Do I want to remember the moments that mattered and impacted me the most, or am I going to dwell on the things that I can't change? And am I going to focus on all of my drawbacks or the triumphs that can result from them? And finally, am I going to look back with regrets or have a mindset to react and live my high school years to the fullest? Your life is just beginning, so remember to take a step back, remember that it's okay not to have the answers, and that no matter what life throws at you, go at it with a smile on your face. Thank you.
How many of you actually know what you want to pursue after high school? 4 years ago, I sat in the same auditorium as you, watching countless seniors reflect on their high school experiences and prepare for their postgraduate plans. I remember all of them knew what college they were attending, what industry they were going into, what major they were pursuing, what job they wanted to have. But I sat there, completely lost, dreading the time when I would have to make those same decisions for myself. Now, 4 years later, I finally have a clear vision of my future, but I had to make a significant change in my mindset in order to accomplish this. Hi, my name is Emma Lavoie, and I'm here to explain to you the importance of pursuing your own passions and not someone else's.
For as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be just like my older sister. I would always look to her for guidance on what to do with my life. I would copy the outfits she wore to school, get the same haircuts that she had, and ask for the same exact things as her for Christmas and birthdays. I tried all the sports that she did, from dance to gymnastics to soccer to basketball, and quit the ones that she did not continue with. I read the same book series, loved the same movies, and enjoyed the same games as her. Looking back, I now realize that I never really had interests of my own as a child. Instead, they were just imitations of my sister's. Going into high school, I was in the same boat as everyone else. I was unsure of what classes and activities to get involved in. Instead of following my interests and doing things that suited me, I relied on a strategy that I knew from my childhood: to copy my sister. Now, I'm sure many of you can relate to finding comfort and safety in following your own siblings, parents, cousins, friends, teammates, whoever. Why take a risk and try something new when you could play it safe and follow someone you trust? So that is what I did. I played it safe and took the classes and joined the clubs that my sister did her freshman year. But this plan did not work out for me like I was expecting it to. Instead, I discovered that I did not enjoy nor excel in science, but my sister did. She was even pursuing a major in molecular and cell biology. No matter how hard I searched, I could not find the joy and success she had with science for myself. Come the following year, I knew that I needed to make a change. If I were to keep copying my sister, I would be stuck in countless difficult science classes, feeling bored, disinterested, and ultimately confused with the content. So, to save myself from that dreadful scenario, I decided to push myself to pursue my own passions and sign up for different classes that interested me. I explored my passion for sports media by taking a class in television production, my passion for social interaction by involving myself in our school's unified program, and my passion for math by taking challenging math courses. Through this exploration of my interests, I was able to narrow them down in order to decide what I wanted for my future. I learned that I love math and want a hands-on social job in the future, one that allows me to interact with others in various environments. While branching out and pursuing my own passions was a foreign feeling, it ultimately allowed me to come to these conclusions. It led me to selecting the major that I intend to pursue. If I continued down the path of copying my sister, I would still be lost and unsure of what I truly wanted for myself post-graduation. Overall, I'm proud of myself for exploring the unknown and making that change in my life. Otherwise, I would not be where I am today. To reiterate the inspiring words of John Mason, "You were born an original, don't die a copy." Standing here now, I can confidently answer all of the questions that I was dreading 4 years ago. In the fall, I will be attending the University of Connecticut, majoring in civil engineering, with the intention of designing public works projects in the future. I know what I want to do with my life because I finally decided to focus on myself and do things that cater to my own interests and strengths and no one else's. And I encourage each and every one of you to do the same. While it is easy to sign up for a class only because all of your friends are enrolled in it, ask yourself if you're truly interested in the content. If the answer is no, then take a class that you will enjoy. Maybe you joined the club that your sibling was president of, but dread attending the meetings and are not passionate about the club's work. Then find a club or program that you are passionate about. Say your cousins work at a certain restaurant and really want you to work there as well, but you have your heart set on a different job. Then apply for the job that suits you. Putting your time and energy into endeavors that you are interested in is the key to figuring out your future path. So be sure to take the time to find what works for you and only you. A few years ago, I would have never imagined that I would be pursuing a degree in engineering, but here I am, because I took my future into my own hands and signed up for those challenging math classes, even though neither my sister nor my friends did. So, when the beginning of next school year rolls around and you're considering which new activities to get involved in, find that class, club, program, sport, or hobby that makes you happy and satisfied, even if that means stepping out of your comfort zone and trying new, unique things by yourself. Once you graduate from high school, you will no longer be surrounded by the people you have grown up with your whole life. That is why you must figure out what you enjoy and care about, not what those around you do. After all, it is your life, and you deserve to discover your place in this world, no matter if your place looks different than that of those around you. Thank you.
We are always looking through the lens of the future, focus on getting to the weekend, our summer plans, or even graduating. We do this so often, we miss out on the great things going on around us. My name is Toby Lavender, and I'm here to tell you to live in the moment. I used to find myself only looking forward to the big events and feeling disappointed after they passed. I would look ahead for something more significant, but it would just lead to missing the small, lasting moments. But when you change your mindset from thinking about big events to small details, it makes you a happier overall person. Zach Bryan once said, "Someday I will come to my senses, stop sitting on fences in fear, and I will realize after all of this time that someday was always just right here." Not saying looking forward to something is a bad thing at all, but you need to make sure it does not consume you. Remember, every single day is a day where you can make a memory. This all comes from taking every opportunity. No matter what arises, make sure you seize the moment. Don't wait around and say next week or another time. Be present in that moment and take that chance. Earlier this year, I was talking with someone in my class about going on a fishing trip, but of course, because of this or that, we didn't end up going. I know this is a widely shared experience with the classic saying of your plans not making out of the group chat, but I encourage you to try your very best to truly make those plans happen. That next week, me and Pete actually made our plans happen and missed a day of school to go out fishing. It was an unexpected adventure for sure, and if someone told me I would be fishing with Pistol Pete instead of going to class early in the year, I would have been shocked. It turned out to be a very rewarding experience and something I will always remember, especially because his keys got locked in his trunk and we had to pry his Volvo door open for hours to unlock it. Now, this is an extreme situation, but it can be as simple as finally going out to eat with friends or going to that game you've been wanting to go to, or maybe even taking that trip to New York City. The moral of the story is, by living in the moment, you never know what opportunity can turn into an unexpected memory. Take every adventure and live it to the fullest. You must be present in sports as well as your daily life. The small details in the day-to-day are what makes playing sports fun, not always the end goal. Lots of people are wrapped up in the end goal of playing in college, but playing in college does not need to be the end-all, be-all. Even if you don't go on to play like myself, you don't need to look back and think all the work you put in was useless. I've spent countless hours practicing the 3 sports I played, but I do not regret any of it. I was just focused on getting better for the present and being in the moment with my team. This goes for the game-to-game as well. You can't look ahead at the playoffs before you even make it. You must try to be the best player you can be each and every play for you and your team to actually reach those playoffs. Focus on the now, and good things will come in the future for you and your teams. I also want to encourage you to fully immerse yourself in your stress-relieving outlet, whether it is sports, reading, writing, fishing, or the gym. Find something that can distract you and bring you peace. For me, sports provide a place to relieve stress, whether that is getting shots up in my driveway or hitting the ball at the tee. By fully immersing myself into that activity, I can let the stress ease away. I encourage you to find that activity within your sport, whether it be throwing a lacrosse ball against your bounce back or hitting a tennis ball off the wall when you're by yourself. Find something so you can live in that moment and forget about your stresses of the future. Besides sports, I look to nature as an outlet. we are surrounded by nature and is an easy way to relax. Going for a long walk through the woods or around a pond is an easy way to escape your busy, stressful lives. Personally, I enjoy going fishing when I'm in nature. It helps me relax and blow off steam after a rough game or school day. I can strictly focus on fishing and what is around me and not worry about what lies ahead. Whatever your outlet is, I recommend you dedicate some time to that activity and fully commit to it when you are feeling down or not yourself. Don't check your phone or think ahead to other things in your life. Live in that moment. With everything you do in life, learn to cherish the little things. Embrace what you have around you and find peace within the simple things in life. Learn to seize every opportunity and don't miss it because you're looking into the future. Learn to work hard for the present and trust it will pay off in the future. And finally, I'd like to leave you with this. Don't worry about the big things down the road, but love the moment. Thank you.
When trying to write this speech, I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't know how to say it. I had all of these points that I wanted to make, but wasn't sure how to connect them. Everyone has someone in their life, whether it be a parent, family member, teacher, coach, or friend, who's been there for you even when you thought nobody was. For me, it's my dad, and I didn't realize it until I sat down to write the speech. He is a selfless person who doesn't like the spotlight. Doesn't want people to do things for him, he'd rather do it himself. My dad has never skipped a beat. He is at every soccer game, softball game, dance recital, and if he's not, he's sorry. He was there through every relationship, friendship, birthday, knee surgery, providing me and my sister with everything he possibly can. Something he has always said to me in every situation, in one way or another, is just let it go. Because you can't change what happened, but you can change the way you view and deal with it. Personally, I've never been able to do that, and not everyone can. Hi, my name is Morgan Napolitano, and today I want to show you all the ways I have learned to just let it go in some of my difficult times in high school, in hopes that if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, you too can learn to just let it go. As high schoolers, we meet new people, every class, every semester, and every year. But as we get older, sometimes even the people we thought who would be in our lives forever have drifted away. People will go in and out of your life, and many times you have no control over it. Whether you just drifted apart, felt betrayed, gotten hurt, don't understand why, some stay and some go. Personally, I struggled with this for many years, feeling like it was always my fault, that I did something wrong, that I wasn't good enough. But in reality, nobody is the same. We all mature differently. We all see different perspectives. And so I learned to just let it go. Because every person I've crossed paths with, regardless of the terms we ended on, the easiest way to move on was to accept that there was a reason for them being there in the first place. Let that person walk away, because if they wanted to stay, they would have. Accept that new person into your life. Sit with them at lunch. Text them back. Get to know them for who they truly are. Make new memories. And always be there for one another, because who knows? Maybe they'll end up being one of your biggest supporters. I know mine is. I have learned something from each and every person who has been in my life, and so can you. Let them leave, find the reason, and then just let it go. Lewis B. Smedes once said, "To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you." Although it seems so simple, forgiving is one of the hardest things we as humans face in our daily lives. Even if you don't want to, even if it's hard, forgive them. Nobody is flawless. Each and every one of us have flaws, and everyone here today has made a mistake that has impacted someone. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, it means making peace. It means accepting that life was not meant to be easy, but forgiving might just make it a little easier. However, forgiving others also means forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself is harder than forgiving those around you because you hold yourself to the highest standards. I used to get so frustrated for making that bad pass in my game. answering that question wrong on the test, knowing I knew the right answer. I used to hold grudges on the people that hurt me and let others get in my head, convincing me that I wasn't good enough. Yet in reality, it wasn't affecting anyone but me. I was the only one who thought about that bad pass after. I was the only one who thought about that question I got wrong. I was the only one holding that grudge and letting people bring me down. Dwelling on those little moments, the easy to move on moments, is what holds most of us back from achieving something greater. So forgive others, forgive yourself, and then just let it go. During these last 4 years, life has brought me the best of ups and the worst of downs. It has shown me who my true friends are and who aren't. It has taught me that I am so much stronger and resilient than I could have ever imagined, and it has directed me toward the path that I will follow when I walk across that stage. But ultimately, it has been the true definition of just letting it go. Letting go of the things I can't change, but fighting for the ones I know I can. Letting go of other people's opinions because not everyone knows the full side of the story. Letting go of the fact that things will go unresolved, but maybe it was meant to be that way. Letting go of not being able to control others' actions or words, but being able to control how I react. Life doesn't care if we're struggling or if we're thriving. It just happens. As much as we want to and wish we could control it, we can't. And that's where I went wrong, but my dad didn't. I was so stuck, so focused on what I couldn't do in uncontrollable situations, rather than focusing on what I can. Just let it go started as an annoying thing my dad would always say, but looking back, he and his phrase had been there through it all, and it's something I wish I took into consideration 4 years ago. So to everyone out there, take life head on. You are strong and resilient. Appreciate the little things before you miss them. Forgive those who have hurt you, and let the people who want to leave your life leave. And always remember that you can't control what life throws at you, but you can choose to just let it go. And although my dad and I will be 2.5 hours apart, I know that he will still be watching every soccer game, attending every event, be my biggest supporter, and will always remind me to just let it go. And my hope is that you will all take this phrase and learn how to use it in your own way, just like I did. Because no matter how bad it gets, you can always find a way to just let it go. Thank you.
Mike? Oh, yeah. All right. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a strength. It shows you're willing to learn, grow, and collaborate. So don't let fear hold you back from reaching out for help. Instead, you should embrace the fact that you have the opportunity to reach out and receive that help. Hey, my name is Kaden Fagan, and today I stand here to tell you that you shouldn't be afraid to reach out for help. Asking for help should be embraced as a positive aspect in your life, because others around the world may not have that same ability as you. I recall a time when I was struggling with a play a week before our first football game, and I was hesitant to seek help. I didn't really understand the play, and I thought to myself, maybe I could just go on the field and hope for the best. But eventually, I talked to one of my coaches, who I'm close with. Not only did he help me by breaking the play down until I fully understood it, he also shared his own experiences with me, reassuring me that asking for help is a natural part of the human experience. He helped me understand that in this world, sometimes you have to put your pride aside and focus on what will make you more successful. Reaching out for help doesn't define you as someone who is weak or incapable of doing things, or more importantly, it shows your willingness to receive and support to better yourself. This encounter taught me that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but a pathway to growth and connection. Asking for help is not just about solving immediate problems, it also allows room for personal growth and meaningful connections with someone. When you open yourself up to new perspectives and different types of knowledge, it can help build your character. The act of reaching out creates an opportunity to connect with others on a deeper level, building trust and mutual understanding between one another. Let me tell you guys about a time back in my 8th grade year when COVID had struck. That time for me was the most difficult of times. I was stuck at home and I didn't have much to do. I was stuck between one of two things. One was being on my game and zoning out on Fortnite, or two, going to my online classes. This was difficult for me because at the time my mom was so busy with her work, she couldn't help me with any of my assignments. And when I reached out to my teachers, they couldn't even respond back to any emails that I sent out. At this point in my life, I was very stressed. So I had to ask myself, do I want to continue cranking 90s on Fortnite? Or do I go and reach out for help? So what I did was I reached out to one of my family members. Not only did she help me understand my assignments, she also gave me insight on what I had to do in times when I'm in need of help. Instead of listening to my pride, I chose to go with what will make me better and successful during that time. I was also able to learn that life will always throw tasks and obstacles at you that you can't complete alone, and that asking for help doesn't make you less of a man, but it builds you more as a person. Not only did I gain clarity on the situation, but it also strengthened our bond as we supported each other through the process. This experience taught me the importance of leaning on others during challenging times and the impact it can have on personal growth. Asking for help is very important because it's a tool that can help you navigate through obstacles that life has planned for you. It's an acknowledgement and an acceptance of the fact that we don't have to tackle everything alone. In the beginning of my senior year, I missed my first week of school due to transportation issues. I had just moved from the south end to the north end of Hartford. I knew that I needed to make a call to the school and to the Board of Ed to fix this situation. But at the time, I didn't know what else to do, so I was left with two choices. I had to either contact someone who knows what to do or continue spending $20+ to get to and from school. I knew that if I didn't take the initiative to contact one of the people who knew how to address the situation, I would have been broke forever catching Ubers to the school. I've been dealing with this all my life when I was going to Berlin schools. Since my freshman year, I've had a counselor who was very helpful to me, and my mom since I've been coming to Berlin High School. From my middle school days till now, I've always had to deal with the stress of making sure I had rides to and from school, whether I was staying for a club or a sport. I would always have to make a pass before a certain time, or else I wouldn't have a ride home. This put a lot of stress on me because I was already dealing with a lot at home, and I was dealing with a lot at school. From what I've learned through these experiences is that by reaching out for assistance, we lean into more knowledge and support networks that can help us navigate through challenges more effectively. As the 44th President Barack Obama said, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask when you need it. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. I do that every day. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It shows you have the courage to admit when you don't know something and want to learn something new. This quote stuck with me a lot because if you don't know me, I'm someone who will struggle with something and continue to struggle until I get it done. Even if what I'm doing requires another person, I'll still try to get it done by myself because I choose my pride over success, sometimes. But as time goes on, I've learned that asking for help doesn't mean you're not capable of doing something, but it's more of you asking for that extra support to make sure you're successful. Or you can be that guy who does everything solo. Anyways, what I've hoped you learn from my speech is that asking for help is never a bad thing or a sign of weakness. Thank you.
I remember it was the summer going into sophomore year. We were in Saratoga with family friends watching the horse races, sitting in the shaded VIP area that we weren't allowed in whatsoever, but it was the only thing keeping us cool. I was helping my mom bet on horses since I was underage at the time. I can't recall the horse I ended up choosing, but I remember what my mom's best friend said as clear as day. "I'm surprised you didn't choose the horse named Adversity." I looked up at her in confusion. I didn't even know what adversity meant. My mom nodded her head in agreement, to which her best friend added in, "You really are the definition of adversity." After fishing my phone out of my mom's purse and making a quick Google search, Oxford Dictionary came back with difficulties, misfortune. Ouch, that's kind of rude. I remember looking back at my mom's best friend, asking her what she meant by that, to which she responded, In the face of adversity, you are nothing but resilient. Hi, my name is Sophia Tierney, and I'm here to tell you that adversity builds strength and character. Everyone in life faces adversity. It comes in all different shapes and sizes. Have you ever struggled in math class? What about writing an English paper on a book you didn't read? Well, these are all common adversities that we face in high school. And when faced with adversity, there are two options. You rise to the occasion, or you crumble under the pressure. Let's admit it, we're not perfect. I know there's been at least one time where you've forgotten about a quiz or didn't do a homework assignment. So what happens under these stressful circumstances? What do you do? Well, I know what I do, and that's everything in my power to stay afloat, especially my senior year. What I've come to realize in this school is that no matter the adversity, there's always a way to master the obstacle that's in front of you. Whether that's accounting for yourself, talking to your teacher to get the assignment extended, or just staying after school to understand what's going on in math. These are simple ways to overcome adversities that would otherwise bestow unwanted stress upon everyone facing it. I'm also aware that there are some adversities, some hurdles that are harder to overcome than others, maybe even impossible. Here's a personal example for you. When I was 7 years old, I found out something that would change my life forever. My dad was facing an obstacle, his biggest yet, and it was cancer. At first, the doctors believed that the hurdle was low enough to clear, so the tumor was removed and all was well. That was until everything came crashing down. The doctors had miscalculated the height of the hurdle, and it was actually stage 4. He was terminal. The hurdle was too tall to jump, and there was nothing that anyone could do. My life had slowed to a stop, and after he passed away, I mindlessly glided through middle school, anchored by the infinitely tall hurdle that stood before me. I never faced something like this before, and ultimately, I was stuck. My biggest role model was taken from me. The shoulder that I cried on, the person who taught me how to ride a bike, swing a bat, my biggest supporter, gone. That was until I realized that there are multiple ways to clear an obstacle, and since this hurdle was so tall, I might as well just go under it. I know it's not ideal, but at the end of the day, you have to move on one way or another, so you might as well just improvise. The first step towards accomplishing the hurdle is survival, taking it one step at a time, one day at a time, one class at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. During instances like the ones I faced, you don't realize your own strength until the grief hits you like a freight train, and I wouldn't wish that feeling upon my worst enemy. I felt like I was the only person who was suffering so much, which made my experience all the more isolating. However, as I let my guard down, I realized that there was a whole army of support by my side, including my family, friends, teachers, and counselors. As you could probably guess, my next step towards clearing the hurdle was not doing it alone. Humans are social animals, and when faced with tragedy, we tend to lean on each other for comfort and support, which is why I spent countless hours with my family, especially on my dad's side. I also relied on my middle school guidance counselor, who ended up taking me under her wing and helping me through the worst times of my life. My mom, however, was my biggest pillar of support, the glue holding together my damaged spirit. Although she had to bear the loss of her husband, the love of her life, she still seamlessly took care of me as a single mother with no complaints. Her selflessness and strength are both things that I admire, and I hope to reflect those same qualities throughout my life. Additionally, I found a handful of friends that made me realize my true worth, building up my confidence bit by bit, giving me the boost to finally clear the hurdle. I've learned from a younger age than most that life is not all smooth sailing, but each time we face an obstacle, we learn something new. Whether that is smaller scale adversities, like struggling with school, or major losses that set us back, overcoming these challenges make us stronger. Activist and former President Nelson Mandela once said, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but rising every time we fall." It's like a workout for a resilience muscle. Instead of avoiding challenges, let's face them head on, because in the end, it's the struggles that shape us into the resilient individuals we are meant to be. Thank you.
In track and field, there are a plethora of different events. You can't be good at every one, and even if you were, there is only a max of 4 events you can participate in per meet. So, how do you win if you can't score in every event? Obviously, track is a team sport, so you have to rely on your teammates to get their individual victories so your team as a whole can win. Each point adds up and can reflect your effort as a player. I have talked to many runners, throwers, and jumpers who state they have an event or two that they do not try to practice or put their all into, and even don't celebrate when they finish said event. So my question today is, why do we not work toward and celebrate every single event, no matter how minor they may seem? Ex-pole vaulter Jameson Evans here, and my senior speech is about the ever-moving and different-sized goalposts in your life, not the events in a track meet. If you know me, you probably know I like to dance. Breakdancing or breaking is the main form of dance I pursue, but I'm known to dabble in swing and even waltzing with a lovely grandma or two. Funnily enough, the pivotal event that ignited my passion for dancing was at a church summer camp. I know, when I first came up here, you all expected me to deliver the annual faith speech, and although it is incredibly important to me, I feel someone else has done a fantastic job preparing to deliver one. Shout out Elijah Santos. The important thing that happened at this church camp for this story was a dance competition. I decided to go and do it because it was funny. Out of the 30 atrocious dancers in that contest, one of my friends who came from nowhere started to bust it down. He did CC's, windmills, a flare or two, the works, and the crowd was eating it up. I was enamored, let me tell you. By the end of that week, he forwarded me a playlist of YouTube channels to start watching, to learn how to dance. And I set out with the goal to come back next year and win that competition. The entire year, I'd practice day in and out, and if you saw me during that time, you would see I would take any opportunity to show off. I'd even go to Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints dances, also referred to as Mormon dances, and whenever a dance circle formed, I would take center stage. Homecoming, my second homecoming, a winter formal, prom, my second prom, my third prom, I would dance at all of them. At each event, I was outgoing, constantly meeting new people, and became the center of attention. Yes, I'm humble, I know. The following summer, the church camp rolled around, and I was ready. I mean, I spent a whole year prepping for this, so what could go wrong? I stepped out on the floor, adrenaline was pumping through my veins, the bass kicking through the hardwood, and the energy from the crowd was electric. I started with a flip into the worm and immediately got disqualified. Apparently they implemented a new rule that states you cannot place your feet above your head. As I was unaware of this new rule, I broke it and got pulled from the competition. I walked over to my friend and she told me exactly what I needed to hear. She said, "Wow, that was embarrassing. You spent all that time and did that? I was expecting better." Yeah, that hurt. I spent a year on this dream, and it was shut down, spat on, and stomped in seconds. I kept thinking for the remainder of that day what the point of putting in all that effort was, and my mind kept trailing back to the idea that what matters is the journey, not the destination. What I don't like about that cliche is it only addresses if you reach your destination. It states that in a linear path, we go from journey to said goal. So when you falter and can't cross the finish line, did your journey really end? That's why when we fail, we end up pivoting to a different destination. The goalpost moves. After having months to reflect on this, I realized that I did hit my goalpost, multiple times in fact, on that journey. Homecoming, prom, and even Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints dances all ended up having the same goal, to dance and be more outgoing. What's the point of an adventure if there's no end? All things in life come to an end. Empires rise and fall, we eventually die. Jacob Miller stops talking sometimes. That's why it's essential to reflect on our destinations. We can take away as many skills and memories from a journey as we want, but without that solidified congratulatory finish, we never find accomplishment. I implore you to place goalposts throughout your life and think of your journey as the means to reaching those smaller wins that build up who you are. As humans, we meticulously plan for the future and think ahead. That's what separates us from the pigs. So, with all these goals you have set for yourself, inherently there is thought put into how achieving that goal will feel, or what we reap from reaching it. The only issue is, reality does not always align with our predictions. Last time I was performing on this stage, was a month ago. I got up from my seat right there, shook Mr. Pyrus' hand, and sat down. I was awarded second place for Mr. BHS, and going into the event, that is precisely what I aimed for. Calvin DeLude and Jacob Miller, third and first place winners respectively, I believed deserved the title first over me, so I shot for second. I achieved the giant aspiration that I set out to get after months of preparation, a 4-year-long wait, and a crowd cheering for me. All to walk up, sit back down, and feel nothing. I achieved my goal and did not have the sensation of euphoria I was expecting. Watching the show from years past, it looked like it was a blast. Seeing Viggy's and Milos' face light up when they won, that's what I thought I would feel. Have you ever achieved something you longed for and felt like the feelings you garnered from it were inadequate? Not only is that a rhetorical question for you to ponder, but it is exactly what I was questioning right after the show finished. Ironically, I would find my answer a week later in the same piano class I took to learn When I Was Your Man. Mr. Dresko was showing us the Pixar movie Soul, and a quote leaped out to me, talking about the main character finally reaching the pinnacle of his goals and then feeling disappointed. It goes like this. I heard this story about a fish. He swims up to this older fish and says, I'm trying to find this thing they call the ocean. The ocean, says the older fish. That's what you're in right now. This, says the young fish, this is water. What I want is the ocean. I built up this dream fantasy that after reaching a single destination, I would have achieved all I wanted in life. Like the younger fish, if we set our minds to thinking a single destination is out there that would provide us with the end-all, be-all sense of accomplishment, then we will wander aimlessly forever. Heeding the advice of the older fish reveals that we are already in the stream of accomplishment. We just have to keep moving through each goal until the day we die. Then and only then will we have the end-all, be-all sense of accomplishment. The sad part is, we can no longer appreciate the whole ocean when we're dead. So appreciate the goals you achieve in the stream throughout your whole life. I had the opportunity to be inside of Mr. BHS and the ability to close this chapter of my life with a bang, which I'll forever appreciate, especially the countless goalposts I hit because of it. In the grand race of life, it's not always the final lap that defines us, but each stride, each heartbeat, and each small victory along the way. Just as a track is marked by incremental steps that lead to the finish line, our achievements, no matter how modest, propel us forward, shaping our journey. So, as we continue to run our race, let us celebrate every milestone, every minor triumph, every step, for they are the true measures of our progress and the building blocks to our victory. Let the goalpost move. Thank you.
We have all experienced pivotal moments throughout our time that have altered our perception on life. Whether it's waking up 5 minutes earlier so we can make it to school on time, or trying a new food that ended up being our new favorite. As humans, we are always prone to try new things, impacting our lives for the better or the worse. We're always taking that step forward as our curiosity drives us to embrace and experience new challenges that have the potential to enhance or challenge our lives. In the profound words of Martin Luther King Jr., you don't have to see the full staircase, just take the first step. This concept underscores the importance of just taking that step and avoiding the idea of uncertainty many may have. For instance, many of you today have gone through the process of wanting to try a new sport or club, but are nervous because you have no idea what to expect. However, if you were to take this step, you may find yourself loving this new hobby you have just picked up and the friendships that could come out of it. Hi, I'm Jenna Borselli, and I'm here today to tell you the importance of taking that first step. Whether it's big or small, backwards or forwards, just take it. You can never fully anticipate the impact one small step may have on your life. As a sophomore seeking to engage in a spring sport, I struggled on what sport I should take action in. All I knew was that I wanted to be part of something. Club or sport, I mean, don't we all? When a friend encouraged me to join track and field, I experienced a mix of nervousness and readiness. Taking that step on the first day of practice would change my life. Now, trying something new during this time in my life was nerve-wracking. Emerging from a very challenging basketball season where I tended to doubt myself numerous times after a simple mistake was made, along with struggling at home due to my parents splitting up and feeling the need to be there for my younger siblings. Track became an outlet and something I loved. Since I was new to the sport, I was told to try everything. I had very little track knowledge and knew that I just had to take that step forward. From being a sprinter on the first day to trying hurdles a couple days after, I was willing to just keep pushing myself, and sooner or later, I found something I loved. One day, my coach told me to try and throw. At first, I was shocked. I knew nothing about this part of track and thought I would just end up running. However, I went into it with an open mind and knew this was just going to be another step. Trying this event changed the way I looked at sports, created friendships that would never be forgotten, and allowed me to learn more about myself more than ever. Initially, I took the step and tried discus and javelin, dedicating my entire sophomore year to competing in these events. It was the encouragement from a teammate when I decided to give shot and put a shot my junior year. This decision not only allowed our friendship to grow, but also led her to be a mentor to me, offering guidance not only on the track, but also on a positive mindset. She constantly reminded me to maintain a positive and open mind while emphasizing the importance of knowing it's okay to take a step back and reflect on what you can fix. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that if I hadn't taken the initial step on the first day of practice, I wouldn't be where I am today. I was uncertain, but I did it. And now this fall, I will be competing track and field at Marist College. I tend to remind myself to have a positive and open mind numerous times throughout every sport I participate in. When things get hard, a simple, "I got this," or even a deep breath calms me and allows me to do the best I can do. Along with creating a positive mindset, this step forward allowed me to realize that it's perfectly okay to try things later in life. Yes, I know this can be frightening. However, as you sit here listening to me today, I encourage you to try something new, no matter where you are in your life. This new hobby can inspire and instruct you more than you can think. Fast forward to my senior year. I was ready to take that step forward in everything I did. No matter what life threw at me, I was ready to stick by having a positive and open mind. When basketball season came around, I knew this was going to be challenging. Like previously mentioned, I would tend to get in my head when it came to basketball. I was always so worried about making a mistake or doing something wrong that I would be very negative. This resulted in a negative attitude towards the sport. I knew the season was going to be different from the others. We had just lost 6 seniors, faced hard coaching, and had a brand new starting 5, which included a freshman and myself who had never stepped foot on the varsity floor. With all this said, I took a step into the Gibney gym, ready for what the season was going to bring. My goal for the season was simple: always take that step forward. With that said, the season ended up being one to remember. After a few short weeks of practice, my teammate and I were named captain. This was an insane feeling as we both played basketball our entire lives together and were ready to lead the team through everything. Not only did we take that step forward, but we took the jump and taught the underclassmen what it means to be positive. We brought the spark back in the gym. At times, it was not always easy, when things got tough at practice or we had a hard game. But as captains, we reminded our teammates and each other to take that step forward and focus on the next play, the next pass, or even the next defensive stop. We noticed our team chemistry changing and our love for the sport growing. As you sit here today, ready to take that next step forward throughout your life, I preach to you all that you take that step forward with a positive and optimistic attitude. You never know the influence you can have on someone. I will never forget when the clock of that state semifinal game counted down what felt like the fastest 32 minutes of my life. As a young team, we never thought we would make it this far, but we took that step forward and looked for the positive. Overall, taking that step forward, no matter what, through these last 4 years has guided me into the person I am today, step by step, day by day. It not only forced me to have a more positive attitude in my athletic career, but created friendships and relationships that will never be forgotten. The numerous steps forwards that I took throughout these last 4 years led me through experiences and lessons that have been instrumental to my growth and will continue to stick with me as I travel to whatever the future holds. As you all prepare yourself for the next chapter of your high school career, I encourage you to adopt this mindset. Take that step. No matter how scared or uncertain you are, use that curiosity that I stated earlier as motivation. Talk to that new person in your study hall. Try that sport that all your friends are doing. You can never anticipate what one small step can have on your future. Thank you.
Have you ever wondered what it means to give something for the sake of others and how that selflessness may bring a group together and encourage them to succeed? Some individuals quietly attempt to unify us in a society where we're constantly being pushed apart. Today, I want to discuss the power of being one of those people and encouraging others to promote togetherness daily. Through their relentless dedication to empathy, communication, and adaptation, people who embody the spirit of a glue guy are essential catalysts for creating unity, collaboration, and productivity in every aspect of life. Hi, my name is Jude Senna, and I'm here to tell you that you should be a glue guy. Now, some of you may be wondering what a glue guy is. On every sports team, there are a couple of different player types. You have the star players who lead the team, the role players who do their job and contribute, the bench warmers like me for high five and garbage time minutes, and finally, the glue guys. The glue guy is relied on to do the things that nobody notices to help win games, but that's only in sports. Outside of that, you can be a glue guy by encouraging unity and togetherness among yourself and others. A glue guy is the epitome of teamwork. It's about realizing that teamwork and collaboration lead to success rather than individual effort. The glue guy acts as the team's common denominator, effectively combining everyone's abilities, viewpoints, and personalities. Their ability to promote straightforward communication, respect for one another, and unity among team members produces a cohesive atmosphere where everyone feels appreciated and encouraged to give their all. As a broadcaster, I work with many other people with different strengths. During basketball, my friend Calvin was great with his play-by-play commentating, while my friend Ryan did a great job with his analysis. When the three of us worked together, there was a bit of an overlap considering Ryan and I usually did the same job. At times, it was very awkward as our play-by-play commentator would be just fine, but between me and Ryan, we'd always step over each other or often just both be quiet. We also found frequently that the data we had written down wouldn't be enough for both of us to share, which didn't help our case. I learned to adjust and switch from only being an analyst to doing a little of everything, highlighting our team's skill sets. I would be on the cameras, still commentate, run the switchers, or do anything else asked of me. With our adjustments, we won the Mascot Media Broadcasting Award for the event of the year for our broadcast of the Girls CISC Tournament semifinals. A glue guy must exhibit traits that improve team dynamics. Working together is essential. You must actively engage with those around you, exchange ideas, and pay attention to their opinions. Fostering a supportive and motivating atmosphere for your peers enhances morale and productivity. Additionally, being adaptable, trustworthy, and celebrating team successes fosters a strong bond. This sense of oneness increased our team's effectiveness, furthering our resilience in difficult situations. By doing this, goals will not simply be reached, but surpassed. Regardless of one's particular area of proficiency, being a glue guy provides a unique approach to building leadership abilities. Leadership is more than being skilled in one thing. It's about also encouraging, inspiring, and leading people toward a common objective. The glue guy develops a leadership style based on communication, empathy, and humility through their unwavering dedication to cooperation and collaboration. They exhibit an unselfish commitment to the team's success by putting the needs and contributions of others ahead of their success. I can recall a time in football practice when my teammates were arguing with each other over the effort and conditioning to the point where the coaches said the leaders on the team had to step up. This was not the first time the coaches said something like this, as they complained about the lack of leadership all year. At this point in the season, people were skipping weightlifting sessions and practices, but you could always count on them to be first in line when Thursday's team dinner came around. And to the coaches, this was all of the seniors' fault. We wouldn't be as good as leaders as the seniors before us unless we won the state championship. The way those seniors acted instilled something in the coaches, and I realized it was time to finally step up. I never considered myself a leader. I was just known for cheering on my teammates and getting the Red Sea involved in important situations. I never even thought of running as a captain. I didn't play much, but had to find a way to contribute as a leader. When we went to break the huddle, I spoke to my teammates about how we should uplift each other rather than yell at each other. From then on, we took charge as a group, which brought our team into the first round of the playoffs. You can become a glue guy by cultivating trust, respect, and admiration among peers. It boils down to setting an example, encouraging direct communication, establishing trust, delegating responsibilities, settling differences, and celebrating victories as a team. When you adopt these traits, you become the force of unity that propels your team to new horizons. Together, you'll forge a successful team dynamic and accomplish remarkable things. Therefore, regardless of individual skill, being the glue guy builds the team cohesively and fosters the fundamental attributes of successful leadership. Everyone listening should think about the significant influence you may have on others by living the life of a glue guy. Promoting unity, compassion, and togetherness not only makes society more peaceful, but also leads to personal development and fulfillment. A quote that I feel encapsulates the essence of a glue guy was said by Martin Luther King Jr., and it reads, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. We must learn to live together as brothers or perish as fools." By emulating the glue guy's attitude, we strengthen our relationships and clear the path for future generations to live happier, more peaceful lives. Being the glue guy makes you respected and well-liked by your peers, since you play a crucial role in uniting people to achieve a common objective. So I challenge you to actively listen, speak with honesty, lead with humility, be open to change, and make an effort to be the link that holds communities together. By doing this, you start a positive chain reaction that will influence more people to become glue guys. We can all work together to build a society in which everyone can succeed and there is harmony. Thank you.
Sometimes I wonder what life would be like if I lived the normal, typical student schedule. School, work, homework, repeat. But that's not me. If you told me my freshman year that I would be up on the stage in front of many people talking about my high school experiences, I would say you're crazy. I could never. But here I am now, talking to you and telling you, don't overthink life, rather live it on the edge. Good morning, my name is Adriana Varicchio, and if I were to tell you one thing to do for the rest of your life, I would say stay open-minded. The idea of staying open-minded to me is just going with the flow and being willing to consider new ideas, not having to worry about every second and what to do in each minute of the day. Lately, I've just been hanging out with my friends and family outside of my normal school and work schedule. It helps me not only get out of my house, but also my comfort zone and my mind. Just being able to be nonchalant about life and not worry about missing deadlines, school, or work all the time, and just focus on myself is what I need. Sometimes that break helps. There are many ways a student to a new school can find ways to fit in. In my case, one way I stayed open-minded through my years of high school was when I first transferred and found a friend that pushed me through a rough time. From both losing my grandfather and uncle around the same time, yet still made me do something that wasn't in my element. Freshman year, I was a quiet, stubborn, and very shy person. I met my friend Mary, and now I'm a person, you could say, that doesn't stop talking. One day, she told me, "I don't care what you say, but you're starting wrestling this winter sports season." I was a junior at the time. I hated it at first, but after telling myself I don't quit, I just pushed through the season and did it again my senior year. I'm now an alumni. I loved wrestling my senior year. I didn't want to leave. I missed going to practice and hanging out with my teammates and friends. Brock Lesnar said, "Stay open-minded, stay focused, train hard, and train smart." For me, the older I got, the smarter I had to train also, because the recovery time is longer. Work on everything, become a well-rounded fighter. Don't just focus on one thing, but be good at everything. This quote helped me connect my sport life and personal life, because you have to learn to be more flexible and open to new ideas. I think just pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and just doing something different is what you should do. Find that friend or person that's going to be the motivation like Mary was for me. Even if that means being the person that's going to push your friends or family out of the comfort zone, then do it. Be that person. Other than friends that can make you stay open-minded, my teachers did it too, pushing me to get more involved and just do something different. Being a person that works better under pressure, I've found ways to fill my time, like free periods working with the students in RISE. For me, Ms. Carey-Scale pushed me out of my comfort zone just to help with students in the room. I've happily done it for the past 3 years, including during their summer school hours. It not only taught me about being more independent, but also just going with the flow because you never know what's going to happen or what you're going to walk into. After countless hours inside the classroom and all the work I put into the program, Ms. C said I should take the para-protest this summer and become a paraprofessional next school year. That's the purpose of living life on the edge. I was just going to go to college and study criminal justice, but that's not all I want to do. Being able to just be around others and make myself busy creates who I am now. All because of Miss C, I could say thank you. Thank you for all the times you pushed me to just do something. So maybe it might be the teacher or person in school that's going to recognize all your hard work and achievements. Join a club or some type of sport you've been thinking about. It will better yourself, and you can realize the difference in feelings and perspectives it can have on you. Finally, staying open-minded while in school was during my time as a police cadet. I thought the only thing that they did was marching and handcuffing people, but after joining the police cadet program that Officer DePinto told me to try, I found out more about the force. Not only did I find out that it was a great way to help me make myself busy and maintain that schedule that I like, but also the experiences given through tactical challenges, skills day, and many more events that took a closer look into the force. I'm now committed to Tunxis and going to college next year, studying criminal justice and looking at being a police officer or even working as a corrections officer. By involving myself in a wide variety of activities, like working in the Berlin High School RISE program as a peer leader, the Berlin Police Cadet program as a former member and vice president, but also my connection to the wrestling team. It made me a more confident, well-rounded, yet open-minded person. You can do this too by involving yourself in a variety of activities or clubs the school has to offer. Giving my advice to everyone here, I would say get out of your comfort zone and stay open, try new things with an open mind. It will certainly get you a path you never knew you would take. Take that step to try something new, hang out with more friends and family, and open up to just being your true self. Thank you.
When it comes to life, it moves quickly, doesn't it? One moment, we're young kids in kindergarten, playing on the playground without a care in the world. And in a blink of an eye, here we are, all grown up, ready to see what our future holds. Growing up, it could feel like there's this pressure to meet society's perfect standards. Everyone wants to show how tough they are. Anyone would do anything to mesh into that popular group at school, or even pretend to be someone you're not. But in reality, people end up losing sight of their self-worth and values. An important value like happiness. Happiness is something everyone desires and seeks in their lives. From a young age, I have always had a big heart and put people first before myself. Hi, I am Jessica Pettit, and I am here to tell you that valuing your happiness should always come first in life. Because at the end of the day, it's your life and no one else's. Throughout my time here at BHS, I have not only learned so much about the people around me, but most importantly, about myself. Something that always resonated with me was doing anything in my power to make those around me the happiest. The pursuit of happiness is what drives us to explore new experiences, build meaningful relationships, and follow our passions. This was something I lost sight of, which caused me to then start ignoring my own feelings. I would constantly harp on the fact that if any one of my friends needed me, that I would be there in a second to stand by their side. Because that's what good friends do, right? Give advice, give reassurance, and give support. But did I get the same in return? No. Endless days left, drowning my thoughts. Why me? Worrying. Are they mad at me? What did I do? I lost track of my own emotions because I wasn't even worrying about my own well-being. This negatively impacted me, causing me to question my self-worth. All I did was be supportive, but I got treated poorly in return. At this point, I realized I could either keep dwelling on this negativity or learn and grow from it. Although I would love to go back in time and rip out all the pages where I let people treat me the way they did and allowed me to feel down on myself, but I simply can't. There's no going back in time. All I could do was turn the page to the next chapter. I've learned that life is too short to dwell on negative things, so why ruin yourself on things that bring you down? My friend Kay Durkin once told me, take advantage of your life. Surround yourself with good people. It's your time to finally live a happy and healthy life. Kay's words stuck with me as her words were a reminder that we are only kids once. We only have one high school experience, one college opportunity, and one chance to make a difference in this world. So why let that be ruined by others? If you choose to live for other people, you'll miss out on living your life. So live for yourself by doing the little things. Start saying yes. Go out with your friends as much as you can. Go for a drive, catch a sunset, and even start celebrating the simple pleasures, like waking up and getting to school on time in the morning. Or even embrace the joy of discovering new hobbies. Be proud of yourself for doing the little things. Many of you in the room may be athletes playing on different sports teams. Let me ask you one question. Is it worth it to play for someone else or yourself? Now, you all know the correct answer to that, but see, as an athlete, you are the only one who knows your goals, dreams, and what you truly want in the end. It isn't your parents, mentors, coaches, or teachers on the field. It's you. It's just like friendships. Friendships are a two-way street. It takes two people to fight for a friendship. You shouldn't have to tear yourself apart on saving something that isn't worth it. As one of my biggest role models, Riley Kopp, loves to say, they aren't worth any of your energy. So don't dwell on people who treated you bad. Start looking out for yourself and do it for you. Notice the people who bring out your inner child and keep them close. See, like my best friend Katie loves to say, we only live once, so make the most of it. Instead of sitting around, go on that car ride with your best friend, blast music, and laugh until you can't catch your breath anymore. By putting myself first, I have not only found my true best friends, but my #1 supporters. A little shout out to not only my teammate, but my other half, Maddie. This girl has shown me the definition of a true best friend. She always managed to put a smile on my face, make me die of laughter, and isn't scared to be brutally honest with me. I wouldn't want it any other way, egging each other on 24/7, then 5 minutes later act like nothing happened. Growing up with you, Maddie, has been the greatest pleasure that I will always cherish. I am forever grateful, and I encourage you all to get yourself a Maddie. See, now, without all of these important people in my life, I would not be where I am today. I am proud to say that I have found my people that make life worth living. As I am standing here today, sharing my words of wisdom with you all, if you could take away one thing from my speech, let it be, we all know life isn't always going to be a steady road. We all live and we learn. And sometimes in life, some people stay in your life for your journey, while others don't, and that's okay. Everything happens for a reason. So put yourself first and surround yourself with people who make you happy, not bring you down. Remember this, life is too short to wake up with regrets. So love the people who treat you right, forget about those who don't. Believe everything happens for a reason. If you get a chance, take it. If it changes your life, let it. Nobody said that life would be easy. They just promised it would most likely be worth it, Harvey McCabe once said. Now do the things you love with the people you love. Life is too short without putting yourself first. Thank you.
Goal setting to many may seem boring and a waste of time. However, setting goals holds ourselves accountable in order to achieve the higher standard we strive for. While chipping away at the small tasks may seem insignificant, accomplishing the end goal is extremely rewarding. Personally, I've used goal setting in all aspects of my life, whether it was in athletics, academics, or while getting a job. In academics, I've set myself a wide range of goals, such as getting those missing assignments done, which I'm sure many of us have at the end of the quarter, or taking necessary steps to get accepted to a dream school, such as acquiring more service hours and continuing to build up your resume. Personally, within athletics, when I do not have a clear goal that I'm working towards is when I start to feel burnt out. From talking to other athletes, this is one major commonality, which goal setting has the power to fix. Hi, my name is Logan Sesniak, a senior here at Berlin High, and goal setting is something that everyone in the audience should be doing. A specific example of me using goal setting in athletics was in swimming this past season. When we were on a bus ride home one day, and Mr. Thurston said that after a lift on Saturday, we would be doing goal setting for the season. Immediately, I knew exactly where I had my folded up piece of paper from last year in my bag. So I went and pulled it out. This was important because keeping my goals in my bag all this time had allowed me to look at them often and remind myself what I am working towards and what ways I can achieve these goals. Some goals that I wrote for this season was that I wanted a podium at state opens, break 58.5 seconds in the 100 breast, break 158.5 in the 200-yard individual medley. When setting goals, you should choose challenging goals, which is just what I had done. However, this was a challenge that I felt that I was ready for, and thought with hard work that I could accomplish all of my goals. On this piece of paper, we were writing what process goals are needed to achieve our goal. Obviously, I had a long list of things that I needed to improve on. Many times, in order to accomplish your goals, you will oftentimes have to make sacrifices along the way. Some things that I had to give up this past year were hanging out with my friends, as I was constantly busy and was either in practice or too exhausted to go out and do anything without simply wanting to go home and sleep or eat. I also had to give up snowboarding, something that I would enjoy doing every winter since I was in preschool, but I simply couldn't risk an injury. While these are all some simple sacrifices that have had an impact on me as an individual, all in order to accomplish these goals that I had set for myself, as for 3 weeks straight, I was swimming twice a day with a lift during winter break. In the end, however, I had achieved my goals of becoming all-state in all 4 of my events at Class S finals, placing 4th at state opens in the 100-yard breaststroke, and medaling. Looking back at the year, there was no better feeling than standing at the podium at Yale, thinking about everything that me and the team were able to accomplish through our goals. Obviously, these are goals many of you cannot directly relate to. However, the same rewarding feeling applies to the smallest of things. Whether it is something as simple as making your lunch, cleaning your room, it is that same rewarding feeling of checking it off your list. Obviously, you will not achieve every goal you set, which is okay. And you have to be able to set goals that even through tons of hard work, you still may not achieve. This is how you decide to pick the right goal for yourself. As Andrew Carnegie describes, if you want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energy, and inspires your hopes. This is vital in order to pick a goal that focuses on something that is achievable, yet a challenge. This implication that the goal should be compelling enough to consistently be something that you think about. It should be something you frequently think about the significance of and its impact on your life. Additionally, it should be something that inspires you and channels your energy in order to achieve your desired goal. However, a specific goal that I'm still working at is making the US Open cut this summer. Oftentimes, people think that these goals can only be focused on athletics. However, that is not the case. Many people find themselves setting goals that they would like to pursue, such as getting an internship for the summer, or getting that job they've always wanted. More specifically, getting that job would be your overall goal. What are the steps that you have to take in order to get there are considered to be process goals, such as building a strong resume and relationships within people in the company, then nailing your interview with the employer. This is an example of a challenge that is achievable, but simply takes a lot of hard work and dedication in order to complete. Now, I'm sure many of you have things that you would want to improve on as well. Now is the time to think about those things, and I'd like to ask that all of you in the crowd take out your phones and open up the Notes app. There's somewhere to write down just one goal for now. Take a second and think through what you're writing. Now, this goal should have a few process goals beneath it that you can do in order to achieve your main goal. This goal can be about anything. However, I encourage you to make it something that will not only challenge you in order to become better, but also inspire the people around you to do the same. Give you a second. Now, with graduation looming, just 1 week away, as you've seen, goal setting has played a significant role in who I am today. Thank you for your time, and best of luck accomplishing your goals.
Growing up in a Hispanic household, culture was a big part of me. No matter the religion, language, or traditions we had, I was always able to share, express, and embrace culture with families and friends. Embracing your culture is to appreciate, accept, and be proud of your upbringing. The traditions, beliefs, or lifestyles that are held in your own culture and traditions with your friends and family are the influence that makes you who you are today. Every single person has a culture with values and beliefs that is unique to each and every one of us, despite our differences. So let us stop for a moment and look around us. How many people around you are from a different culture? Have different beliefs? Speak another language? Or come from different places? Hello, my name is Jaylene Rosario, and I'm here to encourage you to embrace culture because it is a big part of who you are and who you will become in the future. Embracing your culture allows you to communicate and connect with others around you. When embracing your culture, it provides the opportunity to find others who have the same or similar culture. This provides you an opportunity to create friends and relate personally with others. In addition, it allows you to find others with different cultures where you can compare and contrast, potentially making new friendships where one can learn and know about the different cultures around the world. Come on. I'm sure that you all remember how it first felt like coming into Berlin High School, not knowing as much people or where to go for your next class, or not really knowing what to expect. This is exactly how I felt like at the UHeart Student Acceptance Day. Walking into campus and seeing everyone was such a new experience for me. There were so many different people, and I didn't know anyone. I felt out of place at the beginning, but seeing everyone so welcoming and open to share about themselves, I was able to immediately open and engage with others. In the first activity, they had us throw a beach ball with different questions on it, including questions such as our favorite TV shows or hobbies. And it was because of this activity I began to connect with people that had the same or similar interests. Through this experience, I was able to make new friends and exchange numbers with a lot of the girls there. Being able to hear other people's interests and hobbies was so interesting as it was so different from mine, being such a rewarding experience. By embracing your culture, not only are you helping yourself, but you also have the potential to help others around you. Whether it's someone needing translation or wanting to learn the language or culture in general, you will be able to assist them and get them to that goal or help them in that situation. Being a Spanish bilingual, there are many instances in which I was able to help others understand or learn the English language. In my church, most people's first language is Spanish. Therefore, there are various instances where I find myself helping translate or connecting with many people from my church. From translating lyrics to a song or translating what's being said to them, being able to help or connect with others from the same or similar culture gives me a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction while being able to create stronger bonds with many. Each and every one of you brings a cultural set of ideas, customs, and beliefs that make you who you are. Sharing your culture with others can be very beneficial,
especially when you learn other ways of doing things and other perspectives of life. I also had the opportunity to get my CNA certification at Berlin High School. With this class, we were able to go to Jerome Home and assist many and help many people. We would help residents with their daily living, making sure that they always got the help they needed. I was able to speak with one of the residents and translate for a resident who did not know how to speak English. I was able to talk and connect with her about the places she grew up in, her family, and her childhood memories. She seemed to be very happy and always looked forward to our conversations, and so did I. The fact that I was able to communicate with her and make her feel comfortable as there was someone there for her to talk and relate to was enough to encourage me to keep on connecting with others around me. This is why it is so important for you to develop and embrace the ability to connect with other people, since you do not know the impact it can have. Be proactive. Say hi to people with empathy and start an open conversation that will lead to learning more about the person and a new perspective. Being too shy may close doors of opportunities for growth. In all, having the freedom to embrace and speak on your culture is something that really shows who you are and where you came from. Being able to connect and help others around you is such a rewarding experience and something I think everyone should feel and do. A poet named Susie Kazim once said, "Understanding languages and other cultures builds bridges. It is the fastest way to bring the world closer together and to truth. Through understanding, people will be able to see their similarities before their differences." I agree with this statement since the world is such a huge, complex place to live in. We all need different interactive methods and techniques that we can apply from different cultures in order to understand this world better. These methods and techniques surely can come from the different cultures that we are willing to embrace. Through this, we can create a closer community and ensure that culture is shared and valued, which can lead to creating a much happier and positive environment. Thank you.
The world went silent, and all I could feel was my heart beating throughout my body. Last November, I was driving home from my friend's house after a night of Wii Sports and ping pong. I had just gotten my wisdom teeth out, and after the arduous night full of pain, I wanted nothing more than to go home, grab way too much Motrin to ease the aches, and to fall asleep. Unfortunately, my night would not be that simple. I reached the Berlin Turnpike and stopped to wait for the light to turn green. I looked right, left, and right one more time, then stepped on the gas. At about halfway through the intersection, I looked left one last time and felt the world stop. A multitude of thoughts flooded my mind as two blinding headlights collided with my Volvo's driver's side. Did I tell my mom I loved her today? When was the last time I saw my grandma? And did I get to resolve that fight I had with my friends? At the moment, I did not know what was going to happen to me. I mean, who could in that situation? The only thing I could think about was where I left the relationship with those I loved. Nothing else mattered. Not the amount of hours I spent on Xbox, not the money I spent on street signs hanging in my room, and especially not the e-portfolio that all my teachers harp on. In the weeks following the crash, I could have had the mindset of, why me, and dwelled on it for the rest of my life. But I decided to learn something. I came out of this with a completely changed mindset and way of life. Hello, my name is Elijah Burgos, and I used to be so focused on the future that I never stopped to appreciate what was right in front of me. So please, if there is one thing you learn from me today, let it be to seize the moment and embrace life's opportunities and connections before they slip away. One opportunity I seized was when I was asked to spread kindness to the rest of my community through the Anti-Defamation League. I joined the ADL not entirely sure of what I was getting myself into. I was called out of Spanish one day and told I get to skip a couple classes. That alone was enough to sell me. I mean, who wouldn't want an excuse to miss class? I decided to take advantage of the opportunity and help lead an assembly for the freshman class. Through group-based discussions and team-building exercises, I was able to create a safe space for the underclassmen. The students felt comfortable enough to be vulnerable, sharing their own personal stories about times where they were either a bystander, a target, an ally, or a perpetrator. What stood out to me was a student who, despite at first thinking the assembly was a joke, finished the day talking about his own experience as a perpetrator. He described how all throughout 8th grade he picked on one particular student. In his vulnerability, he began to cry. Upon reflecting on what he did, he truly wanted to change. And I am incredibly proud of the courage that this took, and I'm grateful to have been able to provide a space for him to feel safe enough to share and to grow. Now, I could have just gone through the motions, barely helping the presentation, and treating the whole day as a joke. But I decided to make the most of it, and I'm glad I did. Because if I didn't, I would have regretted doing so for the rest of my life. Now, every opportunity might not turn out to be the most rewarding or a transformative experience to you, but you never know unless you take that risk and make the most of it while you're there. Applying what I learned from my ADL experience, I made a tough choice between potential boredom and a day full of video games. Last November, my family all wanted to go to the Yankee Candle Village for Black Friday. How fun, said no one ever. I'm an 18-year-old guy, and the last thing I wanted to do on a Friday morning was to wake up at 6 o'clock and to go sniff candles for an entire day. No offense to anyone who loves doing this, but it's just not my cup of tea. Despite my lack of interest in the activity, I decided to go. A bunch of my family, who I don't see often, were going, so I thought I might as well tag along. I dragged myself out of bed, got in the car, and left. And the day was actually pretty fun. The building was ginormous, and it had a bunch of different sections. There was a build your own candle section, a medieval castle section, and a Christmas section too. There were a bunch of candy and chocolate ornaments as well, things like Snickers, Twix, Skittles, and Starbursts. The building was cool and all, but my favorite part was being there with my family. It was so nice to see my grandparents, my uncles, and my cousins. My cousin Brittany is in the Navy, so I only get to see her once or twice a year, if that. So who knows the next time I would have been able to see her. And my Uncle Todd and Aunt Amy live around an hour away and are constantly working. So finding a time to see them is more than challenging. It would have been so easy to just skip out on the day, to just say, oh, maybe next time, and stay home playing video games. But I didn't, and I'm so grateful to my past self for making that decision. For people like me, who only get to see family a few times a year, each and every moment with them is one worth cherishing. But even if you see your grandparents every day, or go fishing with your uncle 1 or 2 times a month, don't miss out on a single day with them. We don't know which day will be our last, so think twice before telling your family you're too busy for them. As many of you know, I love country music. I've been listening to it for all of my life, jamming out to some Luke Combs on a summer drive, listening to Thomas Rhett on a beach, or singing Lady May to an auditorium full of friends, family, peers, and teachers. But after my crash, country music, and one song in particular, will never be the same. Cody Johnson's song, Till You Can't, has an entirely new meaning to me, and its words cut a whole lot deeper. So take that phone call from your mama and just call away, because you never know how bad you wanna till you can't someday. Don't wait on tomorrow, because tomorrow may not show. Say your sorries, your I love yous, because man, you never know. We're not promised tomorrow, and that can be overwhelming for a lot of people. We can play the what if game, scared to live life, because we do not know when it will be our last. But I think it is because we do not know our future that it makes every moment special and something to appreciate. So live like it's your last day. Do all the things you love to do and be present while you're doing them. Think twice before saying no to that experience, because it could be the best time of your life. And most importantly, cherish the moments you spend with your family and your friends, because you never know when it could be your last. Thank you.
You feel the pencil twirl between your fingers as you begin to write. You start off writing neat, staying between the lines as letters unfold nicely into a straight line. As time goes on, you pick up the pace, letters begin to merge, your pencil barely lifts off the page, and in that moment, you snap. You feel the pressure between you and the page get less dense as you look down, staring at the withered end where before you knew it, you feel pointless. So what's your next move? Do you continue to try writing with what you have, or do you find another pencil? How do you continue your story at that moment? Hello, my name is Narika Kula, and suddenly when life starts to feel aligned, time speeds up and you begin to fall out of the lines. You and your life snap, unprepared for what to do. Nonetheless, I stand here with you all today to share that even in these unexpected moments of pointlessness, this exact feeling of pain is what sharpens you for your story's utmost future. It was the page of my senior year when I felt my pencil snap beneath me. I lost control of who I was, and soon the smooth trail I had set behind me fell into a twist and turn of emotions. From barely starting the chapter of my teen years, I was already challenged with drafting the pages of my future. I felt lost, deciding what colleges to choose from and whether or not I'd be lucky enough to even get into them. Flipping back and forth, I'd feel my parents' pages constantly merging with my own, looking back at the two young adults who were once also unaware of their future. However, nowhere near were their struggles as little as mine. Immigrating to America all the way from Poland with no knowledge of English and never getting the chance to finish their degree, all they ever hoped for was that I would succeed. It felt as if not only was I trying to write my story, but fulfill my parents' happy ending as well. And so, the more I continued to write, the more I felt the pressure question my capability. What if I didn't make it? What if all I do is disappoint them? What if this is the end of my story? The more time went on, the farther my pencil dug into my life's page. Deep and dark letters that spelled out fear, pain, and loneliness consumed me. In this moment, I had only myself, and no matter how many times I tried to flip a page, I found myself out of the lines, crumbling, snapping, and pointless. We in this moment fear there's no going back, that we're only left to stare at the sharp, painful end, assuming there's no hope or purpose left to give, and instead are considered not good enough. However, what if you consider giving that pencil a second chance, flipping it back around and starting where you left off? No, it won't write perfectly, but doesn't it still write? It's pointless, however, doesn't it still have potential? So I ask, why throw this feeling away instead of giving it a second chance? To keep trying, to keep writing, and return to your original self of state. It's about taking the time to keep writing that'll take those staggered words back into the straight line you once started from. I know we all have something happen to us that causes us to lose control of ourselves. We feel the need to flip the page, start off new, that this is how we can feel better about ourselves. We toss away our pain instead of coming face to face with it. And in the end, we continue to let it leave us feeling empty with a story never yet finished. That's how I felt all these years, worrying I'd never make my friends or parents proud enough to have known me, that if I simply flipped the page or got a new pencil, it meant I'd have a fresh start, but yet would end up feeling hopeless with never finding an end to who I was. This is why I stand on this stage, not to talk about my misfortunes, but to encourage you all to pick up that pointless pencil and to continue on with the stories you have yet to finish, because this isn't just anyone's story. This is your story. My biggest fear was that I wouldn't be able to make others proud with my story, when in reality, what actually mattered most was how I felt. I kept trying to write my story for others, letting their pressures decide how carefully I wrote my words. Yes, it's difficult and painful, but just like there's always time for pain, there's always time for healing. Words of Jennifer Brown. I finally put pressures aside and focused on what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. Now, with only a week left of senior year, though I regret not taking the chance sooner, I'm proud to say that by continuing to write, I've started to see the words of my story line together. I've finally taken a grip back on the life I once had. I've gained hope and confidence through the friends who've supported me through this time. Those who have taught me to rather not listen to the thoughts of others who lie in your chapters past, but to instead focus on those who will be there for you every step in the future. Now, in a couple of months, I'll be off to college, proud to have known I continued fighting that pointless end of a pencil by coming face to face with the paper in the past. So please, don't let that pointless end of your pencil discourage you from seeing the potential in your stories of the future. Keep writing about the life you want to live, the dreams you want to accomplish. Find not only yourself, but those friends who encourage you to take your pencil into your own hands. Finish the stories you have yet to learn from, and understand these lessons are prepare you for your own future. Write through the pain and take into consideration the pressure you endure. Whether it's from a parent, a friend, that one class you can never seem to get an 85 in, or that sport where no matter how hard you try, the coach never seems to put you in, learn when to stop, take a minute, stop a sentence, and remind yourself of the goals you'll accomplish when you take the time to write between those lines. For it's this time that sharpens you for life's challenges ahead of you. Thank you.
Have you ever felt like you just didn't measure up? Well, for me, it's been a lifelong journey. Growing up, I was always worried about not being as smart as my friends. It felt like this never-ending cycle of doubt, always second-guessing myself. What if I couldn't keep up? What if they realize I'm not as smart as them? These what-if thoughts would swarm my mind, chipping away at my confidence. It got to the point where I was too scared to try new things, afraid of falling short. Hi, my name's Aiden Cooney, and I struggle with the fear of failure and not living up to people's expectations. With each passing day, my fear of failure grew stronger and stronger, feeding my mind with new insecurities, amplifying my doubts of being my best self. It felt like a dark cloud that followed me everywhere, making me doubt everything I said or did. My brain was constantly filling up with thoughts and worries, making me feel even less sure of myself. As time went on, this fear turned into something bigger, anxiety. I was trapped in a cycle of continuously comparing myself to others and worrying about not being smart enough for my friends' standards. I began to avoid doing new things or speaking up because I simply couldn't grasp the thought of feeling dumb around them. Every word uttered and every action taken was criticized through my lens of insecurities, leaving me paralyzed by the fear or saying or doing the wrong thing. It made everything seem impossible. I want to emphasize that my intention isn't to slander my friends, but there was numerous occasions when I felt like the odd one out went together as a group. Despite being more known as the athletic one in our group, I craved more than just physical prowess. I simply wanted to be on the same level as my friends effortlessly displayed. One particular instance that remains attached to my memory, we were together hanging out on a normal day in Brandon's basement playing Jackbox, which is supposed to be a source of carefree enjoyment and shouldn't be thought of too much when playing. However, rather than enjoying the moment, I found myself overthinking once again. When my turn inevitably came, my mind blinked, overwhelmed by a wave of anxiety. I stumbled over my words and failed right in front of them. Their laughter, though this was typical teenage behavior, cut deeper than they could ever imagined. It left me feeling isolated, as if I didn't quite fit into their world. The weight of that moment settled heavily on my chest, an indescribable emotion swirling through my mind, and all I wanted was to break free from this suffocating self-doubt and regain my confidence. But I was stuck within my own thoughts. As you know now, I'm not the most confident person in the world, and often looking for inspiration to become a better person. I started to search the internet for some quotes that I could relate to, but nothing really sparked my interest. That was until I really started to think about it, because it's not uncommon to find ourselves tangled in a snare of overthinking. In the midst of academic pressures and social dynamics, the profound truth emerges. Byron Kate once said, "I discovered when I believed my thoughts, I suffered, but when I didn't believe them, I didn't suffer." And that is true for every single human being. This reminds us that our thoughts, while powerful, are not 100% true. Have you ever felt like you're giving your all in school, but not seeing the results you hope for? It's frustrating when you put so much effort and don't feel like you're getting anywhere. Whether it's a tough class that just doesn't seem to click, where you can't seem to improve, we've all been there. It becomes even more challenging when you see the concern and disappointment in the eyes of your guardians, who just want the best for you, and the puzzled looks from your friends who may not understand why you're struggling. But it's important to remember that everyone faces setbacks, and feeling like you're underperforming is a common experience. Your guardians and friends care about you and believe in your potential, even when you doubt yourself. I'm not going to stand up here and pretend that constant failures are okay. From experience, I know how easy it is to get stuck in that rut and even become complacent with it. Trust me, breaking out of that cycle is incredibly challenging, but every small step counts towards your growth and success. It's through these challenging times that we learn more about ourselves and discover our true strengths. Gradually, I started feeling more comfortable about speaking up and sharing my thoughts with my friends. I began to stop worrying about comparing myself to them because I saw that we all brought something different to the table, and that's what made our friendship special. Instead of feeling scared of what they might think, I started to see them as family, people that could help me grow, not only intelligence-wise, but a better person overall. Even though this may sound foolish, every time I made a small achievement, like cracking a good joke that made everyone laugh, or adding something into a small conversation, my confidence took a step in the right direction. I realized that intelligence isn't something you're born with. There's something you either have or don't have. It's more like a muscle you could work on and make stronger over time. I learned that by staying curious, working hard, and being open to learning from my mistakes, I could keep getting smarter and more confident. Instead of seeing intelligence as a race to win, I saw it as a journey we're all on together, where we all could help each other grow. In the end, the best thing possible for me was figuring out that I wasn't trying to prove myself to my friends or measuring up to them. It was more about accepting myself for who I am, no matter how smart or not so smart I felt compared to them. This year posed a significant challenge for me as I found myself slipping back into my old habits, allowing my nerves to overpower me, leading to a rather embarrassing incident during my speech class. In that moment, I felt utterly defeated, believing I regressed entirely. Yet thanks to the support of my teachers and friends, I gathered my strength and poise and worked on restoring my confidence. Their encouragement proved to be priceless, ultimately propelling me to get first place in this year's Shark Tank competition. However, I share this achievement not to boast, but to underscore a more profound message. It's not about the number of times you fail, but rather about keeping your attention on the future, as the past remains in the past. Standing on this stage, feeling confident, I saw that the real win wasn't being better than my friends. It was about overcoming my own doubts and fears and becoming the best version of myself that I could be. I understood that everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, and that's what makes us all special. So instead of trying to compete with others, I focused on growing and improving every day, which ended up feeling like the biggest victory of them all. And to Brand Garrity, Connor Lindsay, Elijah Burgos, Ryan Brown, and Jamison Evans, there are no words on how grateful I am for you being a part of my life. And the truth is, couldn't have done it without you guys. Thank you.
Time is something that everyone wants more of. The saddest part about this is we don't understand how valuable our time is until it's too late. Entering high school, I was told by everyone that high school flies by, and I never believed them. Having two older brothers and watching them go through Berlin High and graduate, I had the false sense that it would take forever to get there, and kept thinking to myself that I can't wait to be all grown up. I believed that I had so much time until I graduated, that my senior nights would take so long to come, that I had so much time with my friends. However, I was wrong. Now, as a senior about to graduate, if I could be granted one wish, it would be to have one more season, or one more class, or one more hangout with all my friends. But I know I can't wind back the clock. Time only moves forward. Hi, my name is Evan Chant, and I'm here to tell you to make the most of the present before it's too late. Earlier this year, along with every other senior, I was tasked with finding my senior quote for the yearbook. But I couldn't find anything that resonated with me. All I knew was I wanted to find something that I truly believed in. Then, I came across a great line from the movie The Shawshank Redemption. Get busy living, or get busy dying. And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense to me. If we're not living every day to the fullest and making the most of the present, then are we really living? The last 4 years of my life have flown by, and the one regret I do have is not taking it slower and appreciating the little things in my everyday life that have ultimately made me who I am today. About a month ago, my friends and I were having just another late night conversation in one of our cars when one of my friends said, "Guys, do you know we only have 4 months left together?" and then it all hit us in that car, that we're all going to different schools, different states, and even different countries. If I'm being honest with all of you in the audience, I couldn't imagine a life without the people I've grown up with and known all of my life. It still seems so surreal to me that in about 3 months, I'll be back as a freshman in college, back at square one, surrounded by people that I don't even know, and not with my closest friends starting just another year at BHS. Although I'm grateful for the experience I had here at BHS and the life lessons I've learned, I've only realized and appreciated that now. It's repetitive hearing the phrase, time flies by, but it's sadly true. We don't have infinite time with our friends and family, or sports and hobbies, so we have to make the most of this moment in the present. We have to make the most of our opportunities before we regret watching them pass, because we don't appreciate the moment we were in until afterwards. Too many people wish for the future to come, and a lot more wish that they could just go back to when they were kids. But our lives are lived in the present. When my junior year ended, I knew I wanted to make the most out of my senior year. I wanted to try new experiences and create new memories with the people that I've grown up with, because I knew our time together would one day end. So that's exactly what I did. During the beginning of last summer, one of my friends texted me and asked me if I wanted to go cliff jumping. And my answer? I was tired and didn't feel like it. But as I started thinking about it more and more about it, I realized this is an opportunity for something new. I didn't realize that at the time, but it's exactly what I needed. Jumping off that cliff for the first time is a feeling I will never forget. The rush of the adrenaline and the relief I felt when I hit the water was unmatched to anything I felt before. And after I got home, I thought to myself, why can't that happen more often? Because of this, I started going out more, taking more chances, trying new things, and spending time with the people closest to me. By the time my senior year began, I realized two things: that I had one more year to create memories with my friends, and that my life wasn't meant to be lived on my phone or in my room watching Netflix all day. It's meant to be lived with the people around us, trying new things, being outside, and enjoying the little things in all of our lives that make us truly happy. There's two things in all of our lives that money can't buy: time and memories. Every second of the day, we're all a little closer to a new chapter in our lives, but we can't look at it as a sad thing. We have to see it as an opportunity for something new and exciting. Next fall, I will be attending the University of Rhode Island, and the one thing that I'm taking into this new step in my life is that I have to appreciate every single moment that I have. Sadly, all of us will run out of time one way or another, and the very last thing we'll have is the memories we've made. Whether it's with our family or our friends, the present is the most important and valuable part of our lives that we will have. So we have to make the most of it. Coming from a senior about to graduate in 1 week, I don't regret a single time I went and hung out with my friends, or got dinner with my mom, or played catch with my dad, but I do regret when I passed up on these opportunities. Because now, I know that one day I won't have the option or even the opportunity to. We don't appreciate the moments we have until it's too late. This is why we have to make things happen in our lives, spend time doing the things we love, and make sure we appreciate every second of it, because our lives move faster than we think. So we can't worry about the future, and we certainly can't regret the past. Appreciating the moment is something that we all have to do, because once we accomplish this, then we can truly feel alive and in the present. So that leaves me with one last thing to say today: get busy living or get busy dying. Thank you.
As 8th degree black belt in judo and President Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Believe you can and you're halfway there." When I was 2 years old, I was really smart. I could say my ABCs and even got accepted to a prestigious preschool. However, when I was 3.5, I had seizures that altered my brain and my whole life. This led me to need specialized instruction through an IEP. An IEP is short for Individualized Educational Program. It is a document that some students need in order to get more help and accommodations for things like reading, writing, and math. Hi, my name is Santino Sisti, and throughout this speech, I hope I convince you to never give up, even when things seem impossible. From age 3 to 4.5, I had seizures constantly, but they would be quick until I was 4, and they became major seizures. My mom and dad didn't know why this change happened, so we went to many, many doctors and hospitals to find out. Unfortunately, we didn't get any answers, and we even went to Yale and Boston. In order for me to be safe in school, my parents decided to have me evaluated. I was able to be given an IEP. My whole time in elementary school and through the 6th grade, I was reading picture books, while everyone else was reading regular books. This didn't seem like a problem at the time until I was in 7th grade. When I was in 7th grade, it began to be made fun of for many different reasons. I would go home every day crying, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, through specialized instruction and hard work, I was able to get to a 3rd grade reading level in 7th grade and a 4th grade reading level in 8th grade, right before COVID-19 and the whole world shut down. When I got to 9th grade, I was at a 4th grade reading level. At that time, I decided to challenge myself by reading the Harry Potter series. I did this because I wanted to get better at my reading. I use Learning Ally, an app that will read books to you, to help me get better. I chose the Harry Potter series because my mom read the first book and got me hooked. During free reading time, I would take out my computer and start reading. When I completed my freshman year, I was at a grade 5 reading level. By the end of my sophomore year, I was at a 7th grade reading level. At the end of my junior year, I got to a 9th grade reading level. At the end of the first semester, senior year, I went from a grade 9 and now I'm at a grade 11 reading level. If I can do it, you can do it. My advice for all of you when you want to achieve something is to challenge yourself by doing one more rep, one more throw, one more tackle, or one more page. Just make sure you challenge yourself. It's okay if you need things to help you. It means you're trying and you want to succeed. Just remember to believe in yourself enough that you won't ever give up. A second piece of advice is to find an adult you can talk to. For me, it was my teachers and my family. The teachers that helped me were Mrs. Carolasia and Mrs. Wright, who both helped me with my reading and writing. In my family side, there were 4 people that helped me the most. My mom, Tracy Sisti, my dad, Robert or Bob Sisti, my Italian grandfather, who I miss so much, Antonino, Anthony, or Tony Sisti. And finally, my other grandfather, my mom's dad, Jesse Rich. These are all the people that helped me from when I was young to now. I would highly recommend, if you are going through struggles like I did, go find a family member and adult you trust. Talk to them. It will definitely make you feel better. Finally, for all the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, I encourage you to find your inspiration. You need to know who and what inspires you in order to get through the tough times. Doing this will help you remember to never give up. I know what you're thinking. Where did you get that from? John Cena? But it is true. The more challenges you face, the more you have to tell yourself to never give up. I would like to leave you with a few quotes I find inspirational. The first one by WWE superstar John Cena. Life gives you 2 options. You stay down or you get up and keep moving forward. And the second one, and my favorite quote, by motivational speaker Eric Thomas. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Yeah, well, thank you.
There's nothing more important than having faith. This being said, I would like each and every one of you in the audience to consider what you have put your faith in. Some of you may have your faith in the universe, science, God, or maybe some of you don't really know what you have your faith in. But the mere fact that you woke up today and came to school shows that you at least have faith in yourself, whether you realize it or not. By reluctantly accepting the fact that you have to get out of bed and brush your teeth and put on clothes and endure a long day at school shows that you at least have faith that you're going to get further as a result. As a matter of fact, the very definition of faith is to have complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Hello, everyone. My name is Elijah Santos, and I want to talk about what it really means to truly believe in something with all of your heart, or to have faith. You see, faith doesn't always refer to believing in a higher power or in a God. Having faith can refer to even the littlest things, such as getting a good grade on a quiz, or maybe even winning a game of football. But the moment that you believe and have confidence in something, you have then put your faith in that something. And having faith isn't always easy. Just because you may have faith in getting a good grade on a quiz doesn't override the fact that you have to study for it. Just because you may have faith in winning a football game doesn't override the fact that you have to practice for it. You see, faith by itself isn't enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it is dead and useless. James 2:17. For me, I have my faith in a lot of things. I have faith that maybe one day the clip crown will be a real thing, so I don't have to worry about KT doing me dirty, which thankfully he hasn't yet. I have faith that Mr. Hannah will never get rid of those Twinkies. And most importantly, I have faith in Jesus Christ. I have faith that a little over 2,000 years ago, Jesus of Nazareth came down and lived a perfect and sinless life, and that he died on a cross and came back 3 days later so that anyone who accepts his sacrifice may enter the kingdom of heaven. And although I was brought up in a semi-Christian household, I would be lying if I said I always had faith in God. To be honest, I lost faith in him during the summer of 2020 and gave into this idea of New Age spirituality. And during this time, I just did what felt right to me. And although I thought I was right at the time, in all reality, I had never been so lost. I had no structure, no solid foundation of faith, and nobody to cast any of my worries and anxieties onto. I felt disconnected. I hadn't realized that the absence of faith will only lead to the absence of peace. I hadn't realized that the temporary hardships that I had gone through would only make me a better person. And I hadn't realized that nobody can be considered a strong person if they've had no obstacles to overcome. And not having faith during these hardships had blinded me from that realization. I wish I could have known that it's okay if everything feels like it's stacked against you and if you can't do anything about it. Because when you have faith and trust that it's going to work out at the end, you realize that you're stressing yourself out for no reason. Within the next 4 years, all of you will be in college or going off to college, and I guarantee that none of you will ever think twice about that one exam that you were so stressed out about. When I was a junior, I had a really good year. By the looks of it, everything was going my way. I had a great football season, school was great, I had a lot of friends, but for some reason I still felt something missing. I still felt disconnected. I would sleep all day and skip school. I had no motivation to do anything. And I was so overwhelmed by the mountain of tasks I had to complete that I had no faith at all that I could actually do them. I was so focused on all the things that I wasn't able to do that I had forgotten about all the things that I was able to do. And it wasn't until this one random day in the spring that year that this all changed. I was going on a run one day, and for some reason, something inside of me just told me to put my faith in God. And I wish I could be able to describe this feeling to you all, but in all reality, I can't. It was almost like a gut feeling. And when I got that feeling, I vividly remember saying to myself, God, I put my faith in you. And at that very moment, it was as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I felt as if I connected with God, and at that moment, I felt at peace. But for me to say that life had been perfect since that one day, however, would be a complete and total lie. I've had countless ups and downs since that one day. However, I've come to realize that whenever I was at my lowest of the lows, it was because I had taken my eyes off of God and I had very little faith. You see, similar to the struggle of getting out of bed after a great night of sleep and getting ready to endure a long day at school, being able to keep your faith even when things get hard is extremely difficult. And if this was easy, everyone would doing it. Everyone would do it. And having faith and understanding that there is a bigger picture is probably the most comforting realization that I've ever had. This being said, I urge all of you in the audience to really self-reflect and find your faith. Your faith is unique to you, so please don't put your faith in something just because someone told you to. Put your faith in what you really think is right. And remember, regardless of the mountain of problems that you all have to face, keep your head up, because the only thing that moves mountains is faith. You just gotta have it. Thank you.
Muy buenas tardes a todos. A los que no me conocen, me presento. Mi nombre es Diego Andrade y hoy comenzaré mi discurso hablando en mi lengua materna, en el idioma con el cual crecí, con el idioma que con mucho orgullo llevo en la sangre. Vine a este país como un joven inmigrante hace menos de 2 años atrás desde Ecuador. Good afternoon, everybody. Today, I wanted to begin my speech speaking in my mother tongue, in the language with which I grew up, with the language that I proudly carry in my blood. I came to this country as a young immigrant less than 2 years ago from Ecuador, without knowing how to speak or write English. It was very difficult for me at first to adapt to a new culture, a new language, and new traditions. When I first moved here, I remember that many people made fun of me for not knowing how to speak English. Many people insult me or made racist jokes because I didn't know the language. Unfortunately, I just laughed with them because I thought that they wanted to be my friends. My name is Diego Andrade, and today I want to tell you how you can overcome difficulties by working hard, by having the support of your family, and never giving up. Trabaja duro, trabaja duro, trabaja duro, nunca te rindas, nunca te rindas, nunca te rindas. Ever since I was little, the economic situation in my country and in my family was never stable. My parents couldn't buy me many things that I longed for, but I never blamed them for that, because they taught me something more important, to work for what I wanted. My dad sacrificed the comfort he had to make my life better. It wasn't easy. My family had many second thoughts, but my dad was always there to encourage us. Not only did my dad support us mentally, but also financially. I saw my dad put many long hours working in Ecuador and had to take out loans at the bank. I saw this draining him, but he still woke up in the morning with a smile on his face. Seeing him work hard and make my family's life better, this gives me the motivation to work hard too. Just remember, you cannot get out of hard situations if you don't put the work in. If my dad gave up, we wouldn't be where we are today, and we will still living in the hard situations of Ecuador. He shaped my personality, my values, my courage, so I can be ready for any moment of my life that requires hard work. An example of working hard to overcome a hard situation was during a class I took my junior year, the year that everything was new for me. When I got there, I was very nervous but excited at the same time. They gave us an icebreaker activity on the first day. Each person had to stand up and explain as much as they could about a word that they assigned to us in less than 30 seconds. I barely knew English, but like my dad always encouraged, I still tried it anyway. The word I was given was air. Quite easy, right? But for me, that little word was huge. When my turn came, I stood up in front of the classroom, and in my head I thought to myself, oh my Lord, what should I do? And since I didn't have the words to say in English, I started to think about air, like airplane. So I moved my arms like this. After that, teachers were so confused. They didn't like what I had said, so they made me spell out the word air. I didn't know the English letters very well, so I got very, very nervous. I wasn't sure why they made me spell it out, because no one else in the class had to. Guys, at that moment, I didn't know how to do it, but I still tried anyway. When I tried to spell air, everyone in the class began to laugh at me. I felt embarrassed. I am going to remember this moment all my life because it was the first time I felt such an embarrassment. When you find yourself in a difficult moment or even embarrassing moment, you have to pick up your head and keep working to be the best version of yourself. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about yourself, your culture, your language, your traditions. After class, I decided that I was going to work hard to teach myself English because I didn't want to feel like that ever again. This experience reminded me of all the wisdom and courage I saw in my family back home. I thought about all the times that they never gave up and that their hard work allowed me to have this opportunity in this new country. I wanted to become good at English, not only for myself, but for my family too. Every morning when I wake up, I repeat the words that the man whom I look up the most, the one that I share name with, my father, always told me. Trabaja duro, work hard, trabaja duro, work hard, y no te rindas, and don't give up, y no te rindas, and don't give up. These words help me to fill myself with courage every day to come here and learn more of your language. My father really showed me the definition of hard work. So, if you want to learn a new language, you have to work on it, nunca te rindas. If you want to excel in your favorite sport, you have to work harder than the rest, nunca te rindas. If you want to have better grades in your classes, you have to work to achieve it, nunca te rindas. I know that for some people, to put a little more effort is difficult, and that's okay. But believe me, if you do it, you're never going to regret that. I want to say thank you to my only Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for giving me this opportunity today to be here giving this speech in front of all of you. I will live my life in a way that honors the sacrifices and the values of my family. I would like to say thank you to everyone here who has helped me. Because look at me now. Not only can I spell air in 2 languages, but I was able to write and deliver a whole speech in English. Don't let anyone stop you for following your dreams, aspirations, or goals. Believe me, you can do it. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Two months ago, my family and I took a trip to Baltimore, Maryland to see the Orioles opening day game against the Angels. After the game, we went back to the hotel. Once we were rested and refreshed, we decided to go find something to eat. As we exited the elevator and looked to depart, a tall man with some gray stubble on his face and, an Italian mafia fit featuring a pinstripe suit and fedora asked us, "By any chance, are you folks looking for a place to have some dinner?" We nodded and he told us to follow him. We then proceeded to follow this very kind and talkative stranger through an alley and into an old Italian restaurant. He then said to follow him upstairs. While he seemed like a good guy, my parents and I shared a look of suspicion as we followed him up 2 flights of narrow, cramped, beat-down stairs cluttered with random paintings, posters, and artifacts. I was mentally prepared to run for my life at any moment until we made it to the top of the stairs. And what awaited us at the top was one of the coolest nights of my life. We were transported to an authentic Baltimore speakeasy with huge TVs playing March Madness, an amazing bar that looked right out of a 60s drama, decorations all over the place like posters of Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., one of the best pizzas I've ever had, and to top it all off, a pool table. The same table I would destroy my dad in a pool match moments after entering the room. Hey, Dad. Now, I tell you the story not to convince you to follow random strangers into alleys and up suspicious flights of stairs, because in hindsight, probably wasn't the best thinking on our part. But I tell you the story because you never know what opportunities and experiences will be presented to you. Hi, I'm Calvin DeLude, and I'm here to say, whenever you have the opportunity to go off script and partake in a spontaneous experience, always say yes. I've been part of the BHS improv team since my sophomore year. In improv, the golden rule is to yes and the scene. This essentially means that one person in the scene should accept what the other person said and expand on it to keep the scene flowing. Mr. Smith, our improv teacher, has told us to always yes and life. And I like that. When your partner in the scene gives you a bit, take it and go with it. Just like when the universe gives you a chance to try something new or go on a spontaneous side quest, say yes and give it your all, because you'll never know when they could turn into the memory of a lifetime. Every day, I wake up with a rough draft of what my day will look like, and very rarely does it ever turn out exactly as I originally planned. In the span of minutes, an easygoing evening at home watching a movie late at night ends in me sitting in the backseat of Ryan Markey's beat-down Mazda, lost in the middle of a Middletown park with Jacob Miller blasting Kendrick Lamar on aux. I get it, though. Even if you want to be spontaneous, it's hard to find time to. I'm sure almost all of you in the audience have sports, clubs, hobbies, homework, and countless other responsibilities you have to prioritize over doing some random plans on a whim. Or you might just be too tired to try. After hitting the gym before school, learning for 7 hours, rehearsal, practice, homework, you just want to rot in bed watching TikTok until you eventually drift off. But why waste your night on your phone in bed until midnight when you can take part in some shenanigans with your friends? By the end of the day, I want to get home well after sunset and feel like I can't take another step. My social battery completely drained and I'm dead exhausted. That way, I know I had a great day, playing it by ear and living spontaneously. I remember in February of last year, I was at Joey B's with my friends for lunch when they told me they were going to play trivia with some elderly folks at the Berlin Senior Center for Rho Kappa. I am not in Rho Kappa, but it sounded like fun, so I tagged along. I went in looking for it to be a nice time killer before my musical rehearsal later in the day, and it ended up being one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. Now, I'm gonna be real for a second. I've always feared the idea of growing old and seen it as a depressing time at death's doorstep. That is not what I saw that day, though. I saw the residents of the Senior Center laugh, dance, sing, celebrate, conversate, and have a ton of fun playing a simple trivia game. I left that day with a huge smile on my face and a warm feeling in my heart. You never know what you're in store for. The universe works in mysterious ways. You don't know what it will place in front of you, but sometimes you just gotta take it. The problem with that, however, is there are times when it does not pay off or it isn't a good experience. Like when my family and I, while on a trip to Toronto, decided to go to a Blue Jays game, which then turned into us getting caught in a flash flood, swimming through sewer water, and not getting back to the hotel until 2 in the morning. But these bad experiences teach you to appreciate the good ones more. It also doesn't hurt to have a cool story up your sleeve, which you could use if any of you out there decide to take this class and you're up here at this podium. Either way, you are adding an incredible tale to your life story just by saying yes and. Improv is all about going off script. Jennifer Aniston, star of numerous big Hollywood projects like Friends, The Breakup, and Just Go With It, once said, "The fun stuff comes when someone is not so strict on sticking to the script." As someone who has spent a lot of time sticking to the script on this very stage, I can confidently tell you some of my favorite memories are when things went awry and we had to improvise. We had to say yes and. Now, here I am, 4 years later, ready to take the next step in my journey. Along the way, I've had some insane encounters and ridiculous stories that wouldn't have happened without me saying yes and. I understand it can be stressful, scary, and outright terrifying to impulsively try new things. But you just have to immerse yourself in the experience and give it 110%. Is it hard for you to talk to strangers? Start as many conversations with new people as you can. Do you get anxious going to a place you've never been to? Walk in with your head held high, ready to have the best night of your life. So, I invite you all in the audience to say yes and to life. If your team is going to grab some grub after practice, tag along, because there's a good chance it won't be just getting food. If your friend texts you, "Let's go for a ride" at 10 p.m. while you're comfortable in bed, pick yourself up, throw some shoes on, and embark on whatever journeys lie ahead. Be smart, be safe, and live your life to the fullest. Just say yes and. Thank you.
The butterfly effect, the phenomenon whereby a small, localized change in a complex system can cause immense effects elsewhere. In simpler terms, a little change, decision, or event that is seemingly insignificant right now can have large outcomes somewhere else. The infamous saying that a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil can lead to a tornado in Texas might actually be true. That the smallest change in conditions can compound into extremely different results. From the moment you wake up to the time you lay your head down at night, you are faced with countless decisions, both big and small. All of you sitting here today have either partially or almost completely finished your high school journey, and you could almost certainly remember making a choice that had a large impact on you later in life. Some choice that was so small, so insignificant, and so unimportant created something so big that you are now greatly impacted by that very first decision. Hi, my name is Shoham Patel, and I'm here to tell you that the small choices and decisions you make today can possibly lead to big changes in your life. We all have the power to choose. Choose a decision that could have endless possibilities, with only one true outcome. Some decisions may seem like the right one in the moment, but then later down the road, you wish you could have changed your mind, and now wanting a different outcome in the present. When I first started swimming, I would refuse to swim backstroke during practice. After states this year, Mr. Thurston and I were talking about events that I've never swam during meets throughout the season. The 100-yard backstroke came up in this conversation, so during one of the final practices of the year, I swam it, getting a time that could have possibly landed me a spot at states. Looking back, I asked myself the question, why didn't I make that decision to just try something new during that first practice? What if I was a backstroker since day one? That original decision may not have been the best one to make, and now I ponder on that choice and doubt it, wishing for that different outcome today. We never know what those little decisions will have in store for us in the future. So take the risk and embrace the outcomes. Those tiny, last-minute, risky decisions may open up a gate to positive experiences, memories, and stories that you would not have previously imagined you would have. After a semester of my senior year, I made the last-minute decision to join Miss Portal's speech class. Freshman, sophomore, junior, and even first semester senior year me would have turned down that opportunity in a heartbeat. Presenting in front of tons of other people on a stage with the spotlight on me was a situation I would never want to be in. I vividly remember telling Miss Portal during UConn Sem my junior year, and I quote, "There is no way I'm ever going to step foot into your speech class." That didn't necessarily go as planned. From presenting a Shark Tank pitch in front of more than 450 students to giving you all my final words of wisdom, that last-minute butterfly effect decision gave me experiences that I will never forget. And looking back, I have zero regrets. If I never decided to make that change, this opportunity would have been left behind me. I would not have been able to experience Calvin and the excessive, prolonged jokes he would make every class. I would not have been able to experience Santino almost cutting Chance hair during Shark Tank rehearsals, and I certainly would not have been able to make closer connections with some of my classmates and friends. All the little experiences I had would have been composed into one phrase: what if? I would have only been able to imagine the opportunities that would have come out of this class. I guess now is a good time to put in a plug for Miss Portal's speech class. I highly recommend taking it, even if you're doubting the idea just a little bit. Trust me, you'll be fine. Make that small choice. Remember, it's often the small, insignificant choices that pave the way for the most significant transformations in our lives. These choices can accumulate over time, leading to profound changes that we may not have thought about before. These changes have the potential to ripple out into the world around us, possibly influencing the lives of others as well. Kendrick Lamar published a song with this very message. In his piece, Duckworth, he talks about the story of his father and a man named Anthony Tiffith. The narrative reveals that Kendrick's father used to work at a KFC, where he was known to give Anthony free meals and help turn his life around from violence. Later down the road, Anthony remembered this act of kindness and eventually signed a young Kendrick Lamar to his very first record label, solidifying the start to his historic career. That small choice that Kendrick's father made gave his son the opportunity to become one of the best rappers that ever lived. A quote from the song reads, "Two extra biscuits, Anthony liked him and then let it slide. They didn't kill him. In fact, it looked like they're the last to survive. Pay attention, that one decision changed both of their lives." The small decisions we make in a given moment hold the power to shape our future in ways we may never fully comprehend. By embracing the power of small changes and choices, we can unlock a potential to experiences and memories that we can cherish forever. I urge you all to embrace each decision, no matter how small, with intention and purpose. Don't dwell on past ones and how you wish for a different future. Remember the fact that the small decisions you make today can influence some significant changes for you down the road. Become that butterfly flapping its wings and make a difference for yourself. Thank you.
When I was thinking of what I was going to put in my speech, I wanted to make sure to talk about stuff that I'm not comfortable with. And to many, this is confusing because who wants to do that? However, I knew that by doing this, I would be able to connect with you, the audience, on a much deeper level. For those in the audience who do not know me, my name is Brandon Garrity, and I have been granted the opportunity to leave one final message for the community that I've grown up with. It is essential to embrace discomfort. I am positive that every single person in this room has been uncomfortable in their lives. Whether this is in a new social setting, new environment, or something about yourself, it would be inhuman to be comfortable with everything. Don't worry, I'm not going to stand behind this podium and attempt to convince you that I'm comfortable in everything I do. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to explain how I learned to grow from being uncomfortable. Last winter, I made a mistake that would affect me negatively for the rest of my life. I'm not going to go into detail about the whole experience, but to summarize, I nearly lost 2 fingers in a snowblower accident. Now, this is something that a lot of people I surround myself with know about. What almost no one knows about is what was running through my mind in the aftermath of this event. In the following days of this accident, I found myself completely depressed. I was in a really dark place, and looking back on it, I was at the lowest mental point ever. I couldn't live with myself and hated everything about myself at the time. Fast forward 2 weeks, and the same version of myself is back in school, surrounded by people who are curious about what happened. Now, this isn't a fault of theirs this is no fault of theirs as they kept a very positive attitude while in public and around other people. But when I was alone, I was the complete opposite. There was no emotion I felt more profoundly than the feeling of discomfort. Every time I told people what happened, I felt uncomfortable. I felt embarrassed about what had happened and what it meant for my future. However, over time, I was able to train my mind to change its perspective not only on myself, but also on my life. It was during this time of reform that I found a quote that would pull me out of depression and set me on the path to success. The same quote that you can find next to my name in the yearbook. The quote reads, "It ain't about how hard you're hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." Rocky Balboa. No change was going to come from me being hard on myself, so I forced my mind to take a different perspective on life. Yes, I was still uncomfortable at school, and to this day, I find myself feeling uncomfortable in certain situations because of my hands. However, I'm now comfortable with feeling discomfort. I know that's something I need to get through in order to progress in life. Feeling uncomfortable is just a way for your body to tell you that something is new to you. You're gonna feel it, so why not try to benefit from it while you can? My left hand will forever be different from other people, but to me, that is okay, because I've grown to be comfortable with this uncomfortable feeling. But adapting to an uncomfortable situation is not limited to big accidents like my hand. It also includes those small day-to-day feelings of discomfort. How you face this discomfort is essential to becoming the best version of yourself. Don't deny the fact that you feel off in a situation. Rather, embrace this feeling, as it means you're ready to try something new. I use this mindset every time I meet a new group of people, challenge myself physically and mentally, and even when I walked onto the stage when my name was called to deliver this very speech. But as I'm talking at this moment, I am calm and collected, because that is what I've taught my mind to do. I've embraced the discomfort, and instead of becoming anxious, I feel prepared. This also stands true for all the insecurities that you may have about yourself. One thing that I deal with daily is how I walk, which sounds ridiculous on the surface, but to me, it has always been something that's made me feel uncomfortable. I was born with tighter Achilles tendons than the average person, which forced me onto my toes when I walked. Over time, I've been able to correct this so that it isn't horrible, but there's no denying that it still exists. But I was born with it, and realistically, it's not something I can change, so I'm forced to live with it. And I don't give a second thought when I am walking around, because I can't see myself from an outside perspective. However, when I watch a video of me, it is nearly impossible for me not to notice it. And I'm sure a good majority of you have these small insecurities that eat at you now and again, small insecurities that make you uncomfortable. I know people notice how I walk, and to be transparent, it used to really bother me. But just like my hand, I have learned to be comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. And I promise that you can also get over this uncomfortable feeling. Take a second to look at the situation on surface value and reflect on what makes you uncomfortable. Then change your perspective and make it more comfortable for you. You will realize that over time, it's not such a big deal, and eventually, you will stop feeling uncomfortable. You will be able to embrace who you are. From these two insecurities, I have learned to face discomfort head on. They changed how I think, and are a leading factor is why I chose to go 3,000 miles away from home for the next 4 years. I've always wanted to travel for college, but admittedly was not completely confident from being far from everything I've ever known. I knew that I would face moments of discomfort and moments where I was nervous about what was to come, but not anymore. After my hand injury healed, my parents and I flew to California to look at future schools that I can attend. The second I stood on campus, I knew that I was making the right choice for my future. I was confident in my judgment that making such a big move is what was best for me. As I stand before you today, I can say that I do not feel at all uncomfortable with my choice. Instead, I'm excited to see what life has to throw at me because I know with confidence that I can face it. I know that whatever San Diego State University has to offer, I am ready for. Now, listening to how I think about myself is one thing, but I want you to look at your own life. How often do you feel uncomfortable in a new situation? How often do you wish something was different about you that can't be changed? How often do you feel uncomfortable in your own skin? Look around the auditorium. Look at the sheer number of people who are sitting around you that are human, that are not perfect. You're going to steer away from things that make you feel uncomfortable because that's what we've taught ourselves. But I think we've all been taught wrong. Start small. The next time you look at something and think it will make you feel uncomfortable, take a second to step back and look at what it means. While it's hard, realize that all you are doing is overthinking. Realize that the person walking by doesn't notice your messed up left hand. Realize that the way you walk doesn't make you any different from someone else. After you take this moment to think, try and think differently. It won't happen right away, but through repetition and patience, it will. Eventually, you'll want to find the things that make you uncomfortable so that you can make them second nature to you. So, if you have a dream, go chase it, and don't be scared of the unknown. Chase the feeling of discomfort until it's nothing but comfortable to you. Thank you. I also just want to say a quick thank you to Mrs. Portal for putting this all together. She was an extremely big part of the reason why we were all able to deliver this speech today, so round of applause for Ms. Portal.
All right, folks, I know not all of the seniors are here because a lot of them are actually in their Period 7 exam. So if you saw any of them earlier today, Period 1 or 3, they also went on to take perhaps an exam Period 5 and Period 7. So while we all like to sit here and look at the seniors as they're just sort of flitting about the building, they are still getting their stuff done, especially this incredible group that I have been blessed with this entire semester. Brandon, thank you so much for those kind words. I am here for all of you. You all make me so proud. So thank you so much again. We ended a little early because I just get nervous with time at the end of the school day. So if you're please stay seated, hang out until the bell rings. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience. The students and I very much appreciate it. To the adults who are here, staff, faculty, parents, guardians, thank you for being here and supporting these wonderful students. Thank you.